At William Hill Vegas, we're bursting with entertainment. Introducing V-Play, where revealing rewards couldn't be easier. Play your usual slots and table games featuring the V-Play icon. And when the V-Play bar's full, you're ready to spin the wheel for cash prizes. V-Play, only at William Hill Vegas, bursting with entertainment. For GBP online accounts, use cash balance to play. Chance to spin and win prizes from 30p to £1,000 randomly awarded. Spin and claim within 7 days. T&Cs apply. 18 plus. Gamble aware.
Football, it has its ups and downs. There's the players who kiss the badge and kiss the club goodbye, right after you've splashed out £100 to get their name on your kit. And the A-list striker who always sticks it in row Z. The good news is the Ladbrokes ACCA gives you auto insurance, free bets back and big odds boosts. So whatever else lets you down, it won't be your ACCA. It's a gaffer of an ACCA from Ladbrokes.
18 plus, online and mobile. Minimum odds apply. Maximum 1 to 3 £10 free bets per customer per day. Up to £50 at boosted odds. Restrictions and T&Cs apply. BeGambleAware.org. Take time to think.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard podcast with Lookers Group. Big brands, great choice, a good deal, better. It's game day, and this is the home of Scottish football. It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Good afternoon and welcome to Clyde One Super Scoreboard on a huge day of Scottish Premiership action. It is a 6-hour special. It kicks off at 12:30 between Ross County and Celtic, who are 15 points clear at the top of the table. Later on this afternoon, St Mirren take on Dundee United. Hibs welcome Motherwell, who have a goalkeeping crisis. And then for Rangers, it's on to tomorrow. Philippe Clement will take charge. That might not please the Rangers fans, but on it goes after midweek disappointment. I'm Gordon Duncan, and joining me you have Gordon Dalziel, Mark Wilson and Hugh Keevins.
Well, Brendan Rodgers would like it to be fully understood that Celtic are 15 points clear at the top of the Premiership table because of what they do to help themselves, and not because Rangers have a problem every time they cross the Glasgow city boundary. But today Rodgers is in a no-win situation because he's lost the top men, Nicholas Kuhn and Dalziel Maeda. He's also lost Louis Palmer and James Forrest. They're unavailable to him. Is he short of too many players against a resurgent Ross County? He'll need to improvise. If he's not short of too many players, it's an 18-point gap at the top. Sub-0 in the Highlands, red-hot game in prospect on a mitten of a pitch.
Yeah, good opportunity for Brendan Rodgers to extend the lead once again, and with his professional pride I think he'll want to extend that lead as much as he can, but he's up against a difficult obstacle today in Ross County and the form they're in, and the pitch and the weather. But the interesting thing I think for Celtic fans with the departure of some of those players through injury is the inclusion of some of the younger ones on the bench. If there's been anything missing from Celtic's season this year, it's the inclusion of some of those young players coming through in the under-19 and B team. So I think the Celtic fans will be happy to see that. Maybe you'll get to see them, but the guys that are selected first and foremost have to get the job done.
Yeah, everybody will think this is a difficult game going up to the Highlands. Obviously we touched on the pitch there. It's not got to be perfect, Gordon, but you've just got to adapt to that. Ross County informed team just now, but their best results are always on the road. At home, I think you've got to back to 23rd of November against Motherwell for their last home win, so that's a big ask.
And somehow it used to be the other way around. But a fascinating game in prospect in the Highlands. It is absolutely freezing. One of those days where you should probably just start with a temperature update rather than anything else. But Andrew Maclean is there.
Yeah, as you say, I'll start with the weather report, shall I? My car read -9 when I pulled up in the car park this morning. I think it's maybe now a balmy -6 at the moment. It is absolutely freezing, a frost covered surface in front of me. The Celtic goalkeepers, when they were out warming up, actually swapped out the white balls for yellow ones because the grass is completely covered in frost. It's starting to clear slightly with the players running about on it, but what it is revealing is really cut up goal mouths as well, so I'm not sure the surface looks too good under that. It is soft though and good to go. Brendan Rodgers saying that the gap at the top of the table is down to their consistency, which they found again quickly after that blip at Ibrox. A chance to extend it to 18 points with a win today. Their only issue, as you guys alluded to, is in those wide areas. Kuhn, Maeda, Palma all out. It means Kyogo and Ida will start together today. As for Ross County, they're revived at the moment. A lot of that is down to their away form, though. They hadn't won on the road in around 500 days, but they've now won their last 3 away from home. A draw with Hearts amongst that means they're unbeaten in 4 and within 2 points of the top 6. Get to the team news. 2 changes for Ross County. Greaves and White drop out, Campbell and Hale come in, so Jordan Amesa in goal for them. The back 3, Akil Wright, Casper Lapata and Connor Randall. James Brown and George Harman are the wing backs. Eli Campbell, Noah Kenna and Josh Nisbet the midfield 3. Noah Chilvers is supporting Ronan Hale up top. The substitutes: Hamilton, Lamy, Allardyce, Laturi, Phillips, Greaves, Telfer, White and Reid for Celtic. 2 changes for them as well. Taylor and Maeda drop out, in come Vai and Kyogo. So Casper Schmeichel in goal for them. Alistair Johnson, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Austin Trusty and Alex Vai are the back 4. Callum McGregor, Rio Hatati and Arnie Engels are the midfield 3. Adam Ida leading the line with Yang and Kyogo either side. It means that young Daniel Cummings comes onto the bench. He's been a goal machine for the Celtic B team this season. He'll be hoping to take to the pitch for Celtic today. Adam Montgomery is also on there as well after a long injury layoff. So the substitutes today: Sinisalo, Scales, Taylor, McCowan, Kenny, Johnny Kenny, who'd been on loan at Shamrock Rovers as well, another youngster who'll be hoping to make his mark. Bernardo, Montgomery, Cummings and Ralston. The referee for this one, Matthew McDermott. The VAR is Greg Aitken.
Well, I don't know how this feels to the Celtic fans, Hugh, but that's how you thought they would go. You reckoned Kyogo would play in the place of Daisen Maeda. Yang keeps his place because he's the only winger, and Adamida through the middle.
Well, back to middle, Celtic are extremely strong. They are improvising up front, but Kyogo is the closest you'll get to a Daisen Maeda facsimile. And on the other side of the pitch, you've got Yang. Very interesting last night. Everyone knows my feelings on Yang. I think he's Brendan Rodgers' blind spot. But Scott Allen last night backed me up by saying he's never seen a player in there. However, he gets a start, and Adam Ida, also another game from him from the start. The last time he scored a goal for Celtic was against Ross County, in the game where Celtic were 5-0 up by half time, and that was in the first week of December. Adam Ida, £9 million worth, is due another goal soon. But I agree with Mark Wilson, the bench is as interesting as the first 11, because there's a glimpse of the future for you. Daniel Cummings, Adam Montgomery, Johnny Kenny, who went to Shamrock Rovers on loan and scored plenty of goals in Europe, now back at his parent club Celtic. Very interesting, and Brendan Rodgers will be looking to bring them on, I am sure. But the pitch for me is a throwback to the 1970s. It's an embarrassment for Scottish football.
Catch yourself on.
Dalziel used to it. He was just chatting about the sambas on it.
Why is the game going on then?
Because it's playable,
but less than ideal.
Yeah, and plus the fact it's as flat as a pancake, right?
No, it's not.
Right, apart from it, right. But most of it, nowadays, referees would not allow that game to go on if the pitch wasn't playable. Of course it's playable. What? Because there's a little bit of frost? That's part of the Scottish weather. You have to go to the Highlands, you've got to dig in. Bit of character, we've all been there. Roll the sleeves up, winter green on, happy days.
Did you seriously say before we came on air that you played professional elite games with Adidas Sambas on your feet? Trainers?
Yes.
On grass?
Yes, that's why we've got ability in our years. Not like these spoiled athletes.
I mean, there's guys out there shopping today with a pair of jeans and Sambas on, and this guy used to play with them. That shows how bad the level was.
Mark, there is no doubt, by their own standards and what they wish they had available, Celtic are depleted in those wide areas. But when you think about it, if you're Don Cowie as an example, I don't think your heart is going to bleed for poor old Celtic, who have to play Kyogo and Adam Ida in attack. Yes, it's less than ideal, but clearly there's a lot there.
Yeah, the strength and depth, of course, because you've got a player in Kyogo that can play across a number of positions. He can take up that number 10 role, or we've seen him playing off a wing when he first came to the club. But it'll be interesting to see what that looks like. Will he just assume Maeda's position off the left and Yang off the right? Well, time will tell. But Celtic have got such strength and depth that even, with those enforced changes, Brendan Rodgers has the ability to leave out McCowan, who was very good the other night, and bring in Hatate, the goal scorer, to pair up with Engels and McGregor, leave out Greg Taylor and bring in Valley. So he's using his squad well for the positions that aren't affected through injury.
When Kyogo came here at first, Ange Postecoglou used him in that way.
Yeah. But they know a big cry about when he played them.
Played at Rangers and Edwards through the middle.
Yeah. But look, I look at that, right, and I know what Hugh's saying, because I watched the lad the other night there, and I'm trying to give him the benefit of doubt. Yang, for me, he has to be a little bit more positive. Everything, I think he's got good ability, but everything's negative. I don't know if that's a lack of confidence. He comes backing himself all the time. Now, McCown played there the other night for a short spell, and people are thinking, why would they not play him there? I think it's because McCown's not got enough pace, right? I think Rodgers likes a bit of pace in the wide areas. Yang's get bags of pace, but for me, never uses it. Kyogo obviously can play there. He'll play into out, and obviously let the left back come up and use that as a width. He'll go in there and support Ida, and probably good runs off him. So I think he's picked the right team, obviously, but I just would like to see Yang being more positive this afternoon.
How nice a feeling must it be, Mark, for all the talk this week? Celtic are on the positive end of it. Yes, less than ideal conditions. Yes, you've got a couple of players missing. To get into a game on the 11th of January, 15 points clear.
Yeah, well, totally relaxed, aren't you? I mean, I get what it's like playing for a club like Celtic when you're in a title race right down to the wire, and there's just that nervous tension in every game you play. But you go up to Dingwall, in any normal circumstance when Rangers are pushing you, that's a tough game. Now, it might be a tough game, but if Celtic lose today or drop points, there's no big worry. You know, if you put on young players and they underperform, there's no big concern. That's the position they've afforded themselves with the run of results recently, because everyone keeps touching it. 9 points it was at Boxing Day between Rangers and Celtic, and Rangers beat Celtic, and somehow it materialises that Celtic are now 15 points clear. That's an incredibly good position to be in getting into this fixture.
Interesting that Brendan Rodgers yesterday took the opportunity, given that all the headlines have been about Philippe Clement and his position at Rangers. Brendan Rodgers took the opportunity to say Celtic are 15 points clear because of what Celtic do, not because Rangers can't win games away from home. So he's clearly taken it on board, and he's used it, I think, as a motivation to his players today. Celtic are on top because of Celtic. Go and show it.
Well, that would, Dingwall might be a good example of that. You remember earlier in the season, Celtic went up there. Was that in the back of Dortmund, I think, or it was round about the Dortmund game? They didn't get it their own way. They fell behind, and they won the game. You get the feeling that's exactly the type of game Rangers haven't gone on to win. In fact, it's more than a feeling you get, that's a fact. So that's what separates the sides. That's why there's 15 points, because Celtic can go to these places and get the job done.
They win in different ways, don't they? The Celtic side, I know at Celtic Park everyone expects them to get the game done and dusted within the half-hour mark, but they have shown grit and determination when needed. None more so than what you say. I think it was Ronan Hale's penalty. They fell behind in the Highlands, but clawed their way back in. Far from a perfect performance, but they still leave with the 3 points. That is the difference between the sides so far.
On this particular ground, everyone remembers the Anthony Ralston header well into time added on, which won Celtic a league game there. Everyone remembers the Nicholas Kuhn goal that you were talking about, Gordon, when he took the great pass from Alistair Johnson and won the game 2-1. So I don't think he's necessarily looking to win at the death every time he goes there. I'm sure he'd rather be comfortable as he was at Celtic Park, but life's not like that, is it?
Andrew, give us an update in terms of the conditions. I take it the pitch probably looks worse than it is because the frost is on it. I mean, they'll have under soil heating, the pitch isn't frozen, the game's going to go ahead. Is that supposed to be a surface frost that the players almost get rid of with their feet?
Yeah, you can already see it happening as well from the players out there training, warming up, that the frost is disappearing. It was my first question when I arrived at the stadium because no one had been out on the pitch yet. It looked completely white. I had to ask a few questions to see what it was like underfoot, but I'm told it is very soft underfoot. It might actually be too soft underfoot. I mentioned earlier on, the goalmouths especially are cutting up really quickly. The rest of the pitch is cutting up really quickly, so it doesn't look the best surface underneath the frost, but it's certainly not a frozen pitch. It may look like that on TV, it may look like it to the naked eye, but it will be soft underfoot and good to go.
I think generally when you go on the road, that's where you separate these things, that you almost get away with results over performance. You know, when you're at home there's a bit more expectation. Is that even more evident today? Celtic would absolutely take a 1-0 scrappy and get out of there, wouldn't they?
And again, to reference Rangers, this is the kind of pitch that Rangers would never get anywhere on. But Celtic will find a way, and they also have strength and depth there. You know, at the back, Alistair Johnson, outstanding for Celtic on that particular ground. Cameron Carter-Vickers, trusty. They'll be a solid defensive partnership. They'll need to take care of Ronan Hale, who's a very good game. Got a ticking off from Brendan Rodgers, being an Irish Celtic fan who scored against Celtic. Middle of the park, extremely strong. It's a Celtic team that ought to be able to take care of Ross County.
I have to say, watching the Celtic players warm up, because obviously you have to warm up on the pitch, and it is cutting up dreadfully when they do the runs over in the corner mark.
Listen, it's spikes you'll need on that pitch. Look at
But we saw it against Hearts a couple of weeks ago, where it was the wet weather that made the pitch so bad. Obviously it's never recovered, but you had frost and defrost and frost on top of that. This is going to be a tricky encounter for both sides.
See, if you're Alex Valle, you can say, can we warm up on the other side?
Yeah.
That's just a big ditch where his position.
You're probably thinking, what have I came to here?
It's cutting up. There's no doubt about that. That may help Ross County, but look, you touched on it earlier. Celtic find a way of winning football games, especially away from home. I think they'll win this game. I know Ross County are in good form, but it's been away from home from them. But I just think, it'll be a difficult game, it'll be a hard game, but Celtic have got enough quality in that team to go and win this.
If you take a snapshot, last 4 games, Ross County have won more points than Celtic.
Yeah, I mean, they're unbeaten in 4, 3 wins and a draw in that time. And the thing, that's a short-term thing that Gordon mentions recently. For some reason, the away form's been better than the home form, but traditionally it is their home form that keeps them in the league.
Yeah, without doubt. And it's all about matching it up to actually have any ambition of getting further up the league. And obviously Don Cowie's got that, so he'll be particularly pleased that they've went on the road. By the way, 3 difficult places as well. Dens Park, they went to Rugby Park, but the most impressive one was Aberdeen. I know there was Wright scores an absolute belter and Chilvers scores a bit of a fluke and off the wide area, but they still had enough about them to put 3 back-to-back away wins together. So they've got a threat at the top end of the pitch, no doubt about it. Celtic know about that, and Ronan Hale, so it'll be interesting. I don't think Celtic will be runaway winners in this. I think it'll be tough for them.
Let's hear from Don Cowie and Brendan Rodgers.
Yeah, it's always a big challenge when Celtic come. Very good team, but we're in good form right now. The group's got real confidence and belief, and we'll look to take that into the game. 3 wins away from home in the space of 11 days. I think we were worthy winners in the games. We performed really well, so the group's taken real belief from that. And it's about trying to maintain it. It's a real challenge facing Celtic, but we go into it in a good frame of mind.
Yeah, well, you certainly don't win any points for style. These games at this time of the year, there's no points for style. We always want to go and play and win in the best way that we possibly can. Always the nature of our game. But ultimately, this will be about resilience and mentality and getting through the tough moments in the game. And looking to be as attack-minded as we possibly can be.
What does it look like, Mark? I don't think Kasper Schmeichel is suddenly going to boot the ball long every single time. I don't think Cameron Carter-Vickers is just going to start launching it up the pitch. But Brendan Rodgers is clearly mindful. So what are the small tweaks within what Celtic do that helps you deal with a day like this?
Well, I think first and foremost you look at Ida up front, so that's maybe forced upon Brendan Rodgers. If you had a fully fit squad, maybe Kyogo, but I think Ida helps you in a day like this, and it's not being launched up to him, but I think you can afford to maybe miss out some of that build that you would expect at Celtic Park, where everything needs to go through Callum McGregor or an inverted fullback. I think maybe if you're Carter Vickers or Schmeichel, that kind of weighted ball up to Ida might be more on today. Look, the first 10 minutes will let you know everything. You'll be able to see the surface and how it reacts to the actual ball moving on it. But I would expect them to go a wee bit more direct. We've seen it at Rugby Park when they did it a few times. Didn't quite come off this season, came off the tail end of last season. But games like this, it's a different challenge for these Celtic players, and that's what being at Celtic's about. It's not about playing one way. They'll need to figure that out pretty quickly today.
Yeah, I agree. I think there'll be certain periods of the game where you might just need to turn Ross County's back 4, and they've got the pace and strength to do that. And I think that Ida probably would have played today. Doesn't matter, it was forced upon him, because I think that there's got to be a hold-up play from someone. I think Ida gives you that strength up front, and then the midfield can go and play in the final third, and obviously with the talent they've got, try and open Ross County up. So look, I keep saying it will be difficult. We touch on the pitch all the time. These guys are professionals, they're top quality players. Ross County will make it as hard as they possibly can, but I cannot see by Celtic this afternoon for some reason.
Brendan Rodgers summarised it perfectly in the clip that you've just played. No points for style, for resilience, yes. So that's what Celtic are about today. They know the pitch blocks out style completely, but it's perfect for resilience.
They've got good legs in the team today, Celtic. If you look at the two fullbacks, they'll be high up the pitch. You look at Kyogo on the flank with his pace, Yang pace. Ingalls is a great athlete. Hatate is very, very good as well. So they've got good pace about them today, and I think that's what will be the big difference.
I don't know if this bigger picture of fitness and rotation, etc., comes into it, but it's quite interesting that you would have thought, all things being equal, this is a Greg Taylor day rather than an Alex Valle day. Again, maybe there is something in there that about fitness or sharpness or whatever, or maybe even a test, a kind of learning curve for Alex Valle, if you like, because Greg Taylor would be the one that you would think would be more comfortable in these surroundings.
It's a good point. Listen, I think if it was neck and neck in the title race, I think Greg Taylor would have played. I think the luxury of 15 points clear, and the point that you bring up, that you need to see these players before you buy them in every sort of situation. Are these guys going to be any good for the long run? Is he thinking about bringing Vi to the club in longer term? Who knows? But you need to negotiate tests like he's going to get today at Ross County on the surface.
I'll be honest with you, Mark, right? I know what you're saying there, Gordon, because I think that if I was playing my strongest 11, I'd play Taylor first. But away from home, Taylor loves to come in the middle of the park. I think it's got to be very busy in there. You see the pitch cutting up. I think width is key today, you know, and I think Vi gives them more of that width.
Especially if Kyogo's not going to do it, because he might want to drift in.
So he'll be the lad that needs to go up and get the width in and get the balls in the box. So as much as Taylor for me is the number one left back, I think that's a good decision this afternoon.
Well, we're almost there. The scene is set. The freezing scene is set in the Highlands. That pitch is going to be tricky. The temperatures are extremely low, but one thing that can warm up the Celtic fans who've made the journey is that 15-point gap at the top. They are miles in front. They won't want to take their foot off the gas. Mark Wilson, how do you guard against complacency if you're Brendan Rodgers?
Well, just with your message, your verbal message before kick-off, I mean, do these players really get complacent? Well, people would argue at Ibrox in one of the most important games they may have done, but they've certainly bounced back well since then. Look, just throwing up or reminding them the threat that Ross County posed last time out, adding in it's a tricky surface, and I think the players will take care of the rest themselves.
Well, kick-off in the Highlands between Ross County and Celtic is coming next.
Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard with Call Robert Accident Repair, showing his skills in fault and non-fault vehicle insurance claims.
Football, it has its ups and downs. There's the players who kiss the badge and kiss the club goodbye, right after you've splashed out £100 to get their name on your kit. And the A-list striker who always sticks it in row Z. The good news is the Ladbrokes ACCA gives you auto insurance, free bets back and big odds boosts. So whatever else lets you down, it won't be your ACCA. It's a gaffer of an ACCA from Ladbrokes.
18 plus, online and mobile. Minimum odds apply. Maximum 1 to 3 £10 free bets per customer per day. Up to £50 of boosted odds. Restrictions and T&Cs apply. BeGambleAware.org. Take time to think.
Hey, with Mary. Ups, Mary. Tell us how that went.
Yeah, came out real hungry. Had to be quick to save the last few. Bagels, that is.
Warburton's protein thin bagels?
Yeah, right. Kept my eye on the prize, as I knew we'd bring the heat later, in the toaster.
How about the rest of the team, though?
Yeah, great support from Cosa Manchego. Prosciutto played a blinder as well, so got pretty tasty out there at times.
Sandwich of two halves, would you say?
Yeah, 100%, and 8 grams of protein. Great result.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
The protein range from Warburton's. Bakers, born and bred.
Oh, Jamie's got a new car. He only passed his test last week. Chloe and the kids on the school run and their new hybrid, and the Flemings from 23 off to see their daughter at uni. Get car and van insurance that's right up your street at parkerscompare.com. Created by the experts at Parkers, we're 100% independent and dedicated to helping you find the right insurance policy. Quick and easy, you could compare quotes in just 5 minutes from some of the UK's leading providers. For car insurance comparisons you can trust, visit parkerscompare.com. Authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. See website for details.
Action as it happens. And your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard.
We are minutes away from kick-off in Dingwall. Andrew Maclean is there.
Yeah, just glanced at my phone there and it says charging will resume when phone returns to normal temperature. That gives you a bit of an outlook into what the temperature is like here. Freezing conditions, watching the players during the warm-up. Hats, hoods, snoods all needed. The pitch will be an issue, not because it's frozen, but because underneath that frost it really is cutting up, especially in front of both goals. So we will see how it copes once the players are running about on it. The players just making their way out the tunnel at the moment. I think Kasper Schmeichel does have some sort of snood on underneath his jersey, or it's certainly a really, really thick Under Armour. Some of these players maybe not used to playing in temperatures like this. We'll see if that or the pitch does have any bearing on today's game. Celtic, just looking at the team there, a bit bare of course in the wide areas, the likes of Nicholas Kuhn, Dyson Maeda, Lewis Palmer all out, but still such a strong team they have in that starting 11. Brendan Rodgers and the supporters will be confident they can extend that lead to 18 points before Rangers play tomorrow. If they can get a few goals ahead against Ross County, or maybe even if they are chasing for another goal, a late goal, and are looking for players to make an impact off the bench, you'll look at some interesting options. Johnny Kenny, 5 goals in 6 Conference League group matches on loan at Shamrock Rovers this season. Daniel Cummings, another one, a youth academy product who's been banging in the goals for Celtic's B team in the Lowland League, in the UEFA Youth League as well. I'm sure fans would like to see them given a run out today, and good to see Adam Montgomery back involved as well. You might remember he went on loan to Motherwell last January, made 1 appearance and then got a real bad injury. Just shy of a year later, he's back in a senior matchday squad. A job to be done first before we see any of those players, but up against a Ross County team who'll have plenty of confidence of their own. No wins away from home in the league for 15 months it was, and incredibly they've now won their last 3 on the road. They are at home of course. Today they did draw their last game at home against Hearts, but because the league is so tight, that unbeaten run of 4 matches that they have, it means the top 6 is really in their sights. If they can really shock Celtic today and get that win, they'll actually be in the top 6 before other teams play later on. A huge travelling support to my left and some Celtic fans in the stand in front of me as the Celtic players are in their huddle. Fair play to the supporters that have made the journey up. The roads were pretty clear this morning, but freezing cold conditions, as I said, so much so that there is going to be a yellow ball in play today. I'll read through the starting lineups for you. Jordan Amissa in goal for the hosts, Akil Wright, Casper Lopata and Connor Randall the back 3, James Brown, Eli Campbell, Noah Kenna, Josh Nisbet and George Harman in midfield. Noah Chilvers supporting Ronan Hale up top for Celtic. Kasper Schmeichel in goal, the back 4, Alistair Johnson, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Austin Trusty and Alex Vai, Rio Hitati, Callum McGregor and Arnie Engels. It's Yang and Kyogo in the wide areas with Adam Ida leading the line at Clydesdale House. In the warmth of Clydesdale House is Greg Aitken. The referee for this one is Matthew McDermott. We are underway in the Highlands.
Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard. Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. Planning your holiday? Get essential health advice and medication before you travel.
We are underway for Ross County against Celtic. Celtic go into this one 15 points clear at the top against the informed team in the league, arguably, in Don Cowie's side. Let's start with the predictions. I'll start with you for once, Gordon Dalziel, because I've got your Dundee 0 Rangers 3 ringing in my ear. It
wasn't too good, was it?
When we left here.
I'm predicting that Ross County will probably force the first corner, but after that I'm going to go 2-0 Celtic.
Mark Wilson.
2-1 Celtic.
And Hugh Keevins.
2-1 Celtic for me.
Yeah, Ross County do have an early corner, as Gordon alluded to. Ronan Hale adopts a very much shoot on sight policy, and he did that with the ball going out for a corner, taking a deflection. It is a yellow ball, as Andrew Maclean
love a yellow ball
explains, because you wouldn't really be able to see a white one, and someone else has a shot at goal.
We've lost a yellow ball.
Somebody's
away
away
down the A9.
Somebody's away down in their pocket.
I'm not sure about Alistair Johnson, right? Seriously, if
What?
anyone should be hardened in these winter conditions, it should be the Canadian, and he's gone short sleeves and gloves. Is that contradiction?
That might be experience from him. Maybe keep the fingers covered up for throw-ins.
But some people have got that. You know, they wear short sleeves, but they wear gloves because of.
Can't have it.
But he's the only player in the Celtic team not wearing thermal wear underneath the strip.
Yeah, that's true.
I'd have the
nails,
tracky bottoms on as we speak.
He's got his ice skates in his bag as well, just in case.
They breed them tough in Canada.
He did play ice hockey, didn't he?
I was at the ice hockey last night.
I noticed this.
Wow. Magnificent.
Went to see the Clan, did you?
I'll be back. I tell you that. I loved
Did you like it?
That was my first ice hockey game.
I get engaged there.
This is no recommendation.
I get engaged at the Clan after the Clan game.
You are kidding on.
Yeah, honest to God, yeah.
You are seriously?
Yeah.
Right, where they are.
Why?
Right. Because he had to go at my engagement the other week and how I did it. How have you managed to propose
at an ice hockey
game?
Yeah, I get caught up in that the sort of atmosphere. Let's go, Clan, let's go. And I thought to myself, let's go, Dazzler, let's go. And I proposed. I did. And if
I went like the Clan last night.
If anybody's listening to ice hockey, Mark and I want tickets.
100%. I was
Enjoy it.
magic. I loved
brilliant,
it.
mate.
Just entertainment all
Do you ever
around
stay
it.
in the house though? No, I was thinking this last night.
I had to call off training because the frosty conditions. So
I'll bet.
Leanne said, "Do you want to go to the ice hockey?" I said, "Of course."
Yeah,
right.
Magic.
Downhill all the way now. You're going to get married soon.
We've got a different type of winter sport underway in the Highlands. It's about as scrappy as you would expect. It's going to be for the remainder of the game, so I think we commit now to not criticising that, not moaning about it. We'll just get on with it for both sides. Celtic trying their best to knock it around on the corner of the Ross County box.
Well, what we've noticed is right away is Yang is playing off the left hand side. I think Kyogo's going in as a sort of a two beside either. That's interesting. You thought that Kyogo would play off one flank, Yang would play off the right, but Brendan Rodgers has decided to go with the old 3, 1 winger and 2 forwards.
I did say that before. I wondered if he'd kind of just be a straight swap for Maeda, or if he would partner Ida. It's certainly looking like that just now, or maybe he's just taking up that position, but it does look like the two of them are playing through the middle. At least a wee bit of a lack of width on this right hand side. Alistair Johnston.
Yeah, Alistair Johnston's brilliant at that. You've got Ingalls that can go and work as a 2 down that right hand side with them as well. So very interesting, very attacking as well from Celtic. Game
Patience,
just settling
Hugh,
down.
you sense that patience might be key, and I mean, even by your standards 4 minutes is very early, but it just looks like it's one of those days that Celtic will just need to keep trying to plug away. You might need to take the odd bobble off the turf here or there and just get on with it.
I think Brendan Rodgers is mentally prepared for that. He's made all the noises about resilience, not style, and that's what Celtic are there to do. I think Brendan Rodgers, in his deepest subconscious, he wants the 18-point lead. He wants momentum and confidence. He's got to go to Dundee midweek, Scottish Cup, and then it's young boys in the Champions League. He doesn't want setbacks and anything troubling the mind.
Decent start by Yang, who is on the left. Some nice footwork helping Celtic go down the left, then across. It was just a bit too deep for everyone, but then Celtic keep it out the other end. I
said if he's got to cement himself in this Celtic team, he has to be more positive. I think there's something in there, right? I really do. I don't think you're a Celtic because you're that bad a player, but he was very negative. I watched him on Thursday night, same thing, always turning back. There you go, first couple of minutes in, sizes up the defender, goes by him, good bit of skill. So he's got it in his locker, but he has to show more of it.
Arnie Engels just playing a sort of deep midfield role currently, just trying to keep the ball. Ross County have barely seen it since that opening shot from Ronan Hale. So Celtic with the vast majority of possession. Remember, low in options out wide. That's why we're focusing so much on Yang. There's no Dalziel Maeda, he's injured. No Nicholas Kuhn. We knew James Forrest was out, and then a family bereavement has hit Luis Palma, so he's unavailable as well. Alistair Johnson, Andrew Maclean telling us, being at the stadium, you're playing very, very high marks, almost a winger on that right side.
Yeah, they're very lopsided, if you can see. You know, Yang high and wide on the left, Engels dropping into the kind of false full-back position, and Johnson just being allowed to go as high as you want. We've seen that after the cross from the left. That was Johnson in at the back post, so different role for him this afternoon. But Celtic plenty of the ball here, attacking the box again. It's just that final bit of quality. I think we're only 5 minutes in, but the pitch is making it difficult.
Was it coldest you ever played in, here or abroad? Any of those mad
abroad,
Champions League?
abroad. No, it was the was at the Europa League against Rapid Vienna, and we warmed up. The pitch.
You say that.
The pitch was covered in snow. No, sorry, the pitch was clear. The snow started coming down as we were going in to change, and when we came out, the pitch was covered. We were 3-0 down within 15 minutes. Got it back to 3 each though.
Yeah.
It was.
And how did it finish?
3-3.
3 each.
Did it?
Yeah.
Were you there, Hugh?
I was there.
Were you there? Were you?
Yeah, he was in the
How
Celtic.
were you
He was
feeling
in the Celtic end.
Yeah,
you must have been bolted.
Just with shirt and tie on.
The coldest ever was Rangers went to play Borussia Dortmund in the Westfalen Stadium, and it was -10 during the game. And you know that way your face freezes.
Yeah, Gordon Duncan knows exactly what that's like.
Yeah, I
His
found
face
that
is
last
frozen right
Friday.
now.
That feeling.
So Rapid Vienna.
Who scored the third goal for Celtic? It was somebody that had
Paul McGowan, maybe? Was
I
it?
think
Or
it
he
was,
certainly
yeah.
scored,
Yeah.
But it was a makeshift team.
Oh,
Tony
brilliant
Maguire.
there from
Nice
Kyogo.
from Kyogo. The shot sticks
Chance.
up. There's Adamida. It hits the side netting. That's a big chance for Celtic. It was stuck slightly under his feet. I think he's tried to dig it out, but Kyogo makes it with a lovely control. His shot squirms into the path of Ida. Can he just not get it out his feet quick enough?
Maybe not, but I
should
still
do
think
better,
he should do better.
Yeah, of course he should.
Still hit the target. He's trying to be so precise and at that near post that he's hit the side net instead.
I think you're being a bit hard on him, I've got to say. I think that
He tries to get the shot off
very
very quickly before the defender
and by the way,
comes.
that's a sign of a good striker, getting the shot off early, so the goalkeeper doesn't get set. I think conditions, I'm giving them the excuse here, I just think he's a little bit unlucky, but great play from Kyogo.
lumbering and lackadaisical.
You'd have a substitution made.
They'd be off by now for me.
Yeah, it was a nice touch from Kyogo, not put off by the bobbly pitch on that occasion.
I think again this, the 15-point lead gives Brendan Rodgers the luxury to depart from that kind of 4-3-3 that everybody is used to seeing him playing, seeing the two up front, and he might see something he really likes today, that may come into play in a real important game like a Champions League game or a Rangers game or something like that further down the line.
You failed to mention who scored a double for Rapid Vienna that night.
Oh, he must be a great player.
I couldn't even tell you,
unless it's just a guy with the same name. I don't even know if it's the same one.
Give us a clue.
Did he really?
I don't know if it's the same one. Is it the same guy?
The same guy, yeah.
Did he really?
Nikica Jelavic got a double.
I wouldn't have even known
You got
that.
him a move to Rangers, man.
He's a good player, him.
The first minute and the 8th minute.
Oh, it's a bad one when you're 2-0 down and you're thinking, oh.
Well,
When was the
seriously,
third one?
Did you not think it was worse when you were 3-0 down?
3-0 down, I thought, how can I get off the pitch?
So when he signed for Rangers, you didn't think, oh, that's the guy that scored a double against us?
Honestly, Gordon, I was awful at that. Guys that had played against.
That baffles me, honestly.
No,
I can't get my head around that.
I know,
because you're right, a lot of people are like you, they won't really remember who they played against or whatever, but I think that's so strange.
Yeah, I remember looking back in a Scotland 21s game at Pittodrie, and I thought, I can't even remember playing that, and it turns out there was
big
what
chance,
a great
Celtic.
effort.
It was Alistair Johnston
AJ.
in the 6-yard box with a back heel sort of flick towards goal. It was in prime number 9 position, and in the end the save was made. I think the offside flag would have gone up had the goal gone in.
What an effort.
Good skill, isn't it? He's
But
playing.
look how high he is.
He's playing as a winger. He's playing as a right winger.
Was Adamida offside?
Would have been
didn't-
pulled back. Yeah,
I didn't
it
take.
would have been pulled back had it went in. But it goes to show you that shot there where you saw Alistair Johnson actually starting on the 18-yard line shows his instructions this afternoon. So very different from what we're used to seeing from Johnson.
I'd like to see the possession starts after 10 minutes here, because I don't know if Ross County have actually strummed 3 passes together.
Well, they had a corner, and that's the
In the
last
first
time.
minute.
That's the last time Kasper Schmeichel
There
saw
we go.
anything.
Successful passes. 9 for Ross County, 109 for Celtic.
Yeah, so the pitch isn't that bad, is
I
it?
know.
Outrageous. That is outrageous. I'm just sorry, Mark. Just want to slag your memory even further. So
Right, who else was playing in that?
Jelavic signed for Rangers only 8 months later.
Did he? I didn't even put 2 and 2 together.
To this day,
Aye.
that's outrageous.
Did not know.
And you're right. Paul McGowan scored Celtic's third. Who got the first 2?
Again,
Chris
couldn't
Gomez.
tell.
Behave your own
Fortuny.
teammate. Yes.
Yeah.
Who?
Fortuny.
Was it?
Mark Anton Fortuny. Yeah, it wasn't a big hit, I don't think, with the Celtic
what
fans.
Celtic team this is? Boric, McManus, fine. Wilson,
Great.
Leuven's, Caddis, Nguemo, McGinn, Flood, Crosas, Fortuny, McGowan.
And you wonder why you were 3 down.
That's got to be one of the worst.
I've got to say,
and I mean that in the greatest respect to my ex-teammates.
See, if I was the
included,
opposition manager and they read that out, I would sack him if he drew 3 each with that lot.
It was an amazing comeback, and we should have won it 4-3 at the end. But that was cold that night, very cold in Vienna.
It's the coldest you've ever played in 1980s with your sambas on.
Oh, but honestly, you know something, that's why footballers are so spoiled. We used to warm up with sambas and the pitch was solid, go out there and just entertain, and the crowds loved it. But
Sambas.
I can't believe you've never played in sambas.
Are we talking about a real game in the top flight?
I'm talking about Ibrox in front of 50,000 people.
Bonkers. Do you remember John Hughes that played for Celtic?
Yes, magnificent. Yogi.
John Hughes played against Aberdeen at Celtic Park and scored 5 goals while wearing sambas. Celtic won 8-0 and John Hughes scored 5.
And they were brilliant footballers.
Yeah,
that's the difference there. As we're now on to the cricket, and I'll commentate in the cricket. I quite like it. Whoever's in charge of this remote control is having a choker. Hey Ted,
what's the thought process here as we're trying to watch Ross County Celtic and they're stuck?
By the way, there's a big cricket match on though, because England are playing who are they playing?
The
South Africa
Royals.
Seriously.
Well, let's hope there's no goal.
What we saw of Ross County Celtic was good for the first 15 minutes. 85% of the ball Celtic have.
By the way, the pitch isn't coming into it in any way. I think Celtic are knocking the ball about quite well.
Because we're watching footage from what is presumably Cape Town rather than Dingwall.
Oh, here he comes. Here's Ted coming.
But how has the TV just changed channel on its own?
That shows you the weather, how cold it is. My God, look at the state of this boy here. How have you got a job?
I wouldn't be blaming him. Whoever's behind the scenes in that cupboard there changing the channel.
An FA Cup, Liverpool are 1-1-0 at home, just to let him know.
Yet, so they are good. We've moved on to that.
Yeah, we've now gotten over.
Wolves are beating Bristol City as well. That's good.
Stick the traitors on there, mate, would you? I didn't catch up with it last night.
I did. Don't you worry.
Don't say anything. I missed it. Because I was at the ice hockey, so I missed it.
I am fully hooked.
Mate,
you start hating the people, don't you? I do. I despise a lot.
I'd love to get into that. I would love to. You would be good because you're a wee Snyder, aren't you? You just sneak about and make friends.
No, but I don't know anybody that lies as much as you. So you'd be good.
You would be, but I think you'd get chipped out.
They would know right away that I'm a liar.
That might be the quote of the season. Actually, you're a wee Schneider.
You don't hear that often.
You're the biggest liar known to man, so I think you would cope quite well.
Yeah, but people would know that my reputation would go in front of me, so I would be probably.
Nah, you're not.
But you could say you're anything. Like the woman that is on it and said she's Welsh. She's not Welsh.
You could say you're Jamaican.
Yeah, I could say anything.
There we go. We've got the football back. That's great. It's 4-0 to Ross County. We missed quite a bit there. 15 minutes gone, no change. Celtic with every bit of the ball and just waiting to try and find that opener. It's been a lesson in chasing the ball for Ross County so far. But that said, Mark, I mean, they won't be too despondent at still being level. It's not like Celtic have had an abundance of chances.
Well, you think of Ross County and what they're trying to achieve this season. If you're coming off the back of the last 4 and you're still 0-0 here 15 minutes in, then
I'm not having that. Sorry, Mark, I'm not having that.
Alistair Johnson penalised for a foul as he tried to get into a crossing position, and I think he's been quite hard done by. If that's not a shoulder challenge, what is?
That's poor refereeing. Come on.
You know what, though? The assistant will have been involved, and he is 3 yards away, staring right at that.
Yeah.
Yep. Very soft.
I mean, Matty McDermott's the worst referee in the country. But
I see him in the gym often. He works very hard.
Yeah.
Yep.
He should stay in the gym.
That's that. You support the young up and coming refs. That's good of you. A mistake though from Austin Trusty. And here's Chilvers, and we hit it past the post. I was going to say we have an opening goal because I thought it honestly was nestling.
Well, it looks like he's put that from this angle so far past the post.
Yeah.
How's he not hit the target here?
I thought it was getting in that near corner. No, it's not.
That's not the worst. It's not the bit Trusty. I'll tell you what. He is delighted that ball's went by the post.
Would you go say that's not the worst effort?
Nah,
he's unopposed from 18 yards and he still puts it wide.
I think he's in a tight angle.
He's got to test Schmeichel from there.
He's trying to get his foot round it. I just think these guys are so critical. You know what I mean?
But he let Ida off from putting it into the side net from 6 yard, and he's given him a pass. He's a new man.
I think it is this new year, new him type thing. Yeah. He's
I think it's very easy to criticise, but very hard to be positive.
How are the New Year's resolutions going? Have you managed to cut your coffees down to 10 a day?
Yeah, I'm going to try 8 next week, 4 in the morning, 4 in the afternoon. No alcohol whatsoever. So things are going splendidly well.
How far had you gone from the studio? Having said Rangers would win 3-0, how far had you gone from the studio before Dundee were a goal up?
I wasn't even on Dumbarton Road, if I'm totally honest. But we all can get predictions wrong, Hugh.
Oh, of course.
Maybe just seeing Mark every now and then. The ball's played into Hatate. It's a sort of simple pass back out wide, which he completes, but probably about 7 foot higher in the air than he would have intended. Are those the ones you just have to take on the chin on days like this?
You have to, yeah. You can see the players are concentrated in every pass. You just need to be that extra little bit switched on for the bobble just in front of you. Celtic, but on the whole, are dealing with it pretty well.
Well chased down by Adam Ida as well, not letting the county back four rest. They would really like a bit more of the ball, I'm sure, at this early stage, because it's not so much that Celtic have created loads, Mark, but if you're Don Cowie, you must think, how much longer can we sustain this level of
and saying that,
chasing?
Chilvers has had probably the second best chance of the game, where he had a free shot from 18 yards. So I think you've got to accept this, haven't you, at home against Celtic? Anybody at home, they're going to have a lot of the ball. You have to restrict them to chances. But when you get that opportunity, like Carter Vickers and Trusty switch off, then you've really got to work Schmeichel, because you're not going to get too many of those opportunities. So that'll be the thing that disappoints them. They didn't hit the target, but there will still be chances in this game for Ross County, just with the way the pitch is playing at times. But they've got to make the most of those.
It's a classic Ross County Celtic game in the Highlands. This is what they all look like, and then eventually there's a breakthrough one way or the other, and we are on tenterhooks until the final whistle.
Yeah, here we go. County venturing forward. They've not done it too often, but they're trying again. The flag goes up.
But it was a 2v1 down that left hand side there. Vi was second favourite for that header. It's a flick on, but he's just went too quick. Now the assistant referee, quite rightly, with his flag up. Good decision.
The assistants get the gloves on as well. It's
don't see that often, do you?
So you have to get specific flag wielding gloves, just the right bit of grip,
on
so
it,
the flag doesn't fly out your hands.
Yeah, you wouldn't want that.
It's the crowd I feel for both sets of fans. Hypothermia.
Well done to them.
Yeah,
obviously, especially ones who've made the journey from down here and gone up the A9.
They actually,
all sorts of.
Well, this must be the coldest ground in the UK today, surely.
Today, yeah, you'd have thought so. It's a great young run from Yang, who knew that it was just icy conditions he needed, Hugh, to come into his own. That is a brilliant run, and he's won Celtic a corner. Good tackle down there.
You've taken a sore one there on the ankle the way.
Get a move to Iceland.
He's listened to me. I'll tell you honestly, Hugh, there's just something about him, right? And I totally agree, he's not showed it, but today he's probably been more positive than he's been in a long while in the Celtic jersey for me. And it shows you he's got the ability to get by players.
20 minutes gone, Celtic have a corner which Arnie Engels is going to swing into the box.
Well, he takes a sweet corner, Engels. A few goals have come off his corner kicks this season.
Yeah, we just look to whip this one right into that danger area. Celtic mostly hovering around the penalty spot, just outside the 6 yard, not particularly on top of the goalkeeper. And here it comes. It's a decent enough ball, but maybe a bit shorter than he would have liked. County head it onto Callum McGregor. He'll try and keep it alive, but going to be forced most of the way back to Alex Valle, who just chips a lovely ball over.
Nice ball that.
And Hatate's trying to get involved as well, so that the attack's still alive. Celtic go a bit more direct than normal though, and Ross County will like that, and out it comes.
Yeah, Hugh's right. Their set pieces, Celtic have been good this year, but even what happened there, they tend to keep things alive, so they've got players positioned even if it gets overhit, just to keep the move alive, like they've done here. Actually the ball's still in play. They're still in this kind of phase, but it's out now. But they have got that attacking threat. They've got a big side, trusty. Carter Vickers attacks it aggressively. They've got Ida in there. But you need someone that can put it in the right position, and Engels certainly ticks that box, and so does McCown when he plays as well.
So we're moving towards the halfway point of the first half. I think Brendan Rodgers will be absolutely content with the way his team have kept the ball on this very, very difficult surface. They've had a couple of sniffs at goal. Ross County have had a sight at goal as well, and it does remain goalless.
Yeah, Celtic dominating the play. Obviously there was a warning sign there with Trusty, bad mistake, and he was lucky to get away with it. But overall, I think you're right, Gordon. I think Brendan Rodgers will be quite happy with the way that Celtic are dominating, but you'd like to be testing the goalkeeper just a little bit more.
See, the Trusty mistake, is that even just subtly down to the conditions as well, where it is a bad touch, but as soon as you take the bad touch, your footing's not quite the same to recover, and then it allows the ball to get away from you. Yeah, bit of both,
I'd imagine. So look, you could say that Ross County were a little bit disappointed they couldn't have tested the goalkeeper, as Matt says, but I think that's a warning sign to Trusty. Maybe in these conditions, just maybe sometimes put your foot through it if you're not sure.
I think that's, it encourages Ross County. I'll let you know, if you put the ball forward, usually if you just lump it forward at Celtic Park, it will come straight back at you. You're just giving it back to Celtic. But I think in conditions like this, you've got to test the back four.
I have to say, that was nice hold up play from Adam Ida, and he rolls a 3-yard pass to Rio Hatate that skipped up to about chest height. It is not to be overlooked, Gordon, just how difficult that can be.
I think as the game's going on, the pitch is obviously getting worse, but you've just got to adapt to that. Celtic have got the quality there. You're right, Gordon, especially for a centre forward who's been told to hold the ball up and then play a nice pass off. All of a sudden you can't help it if it hits a bobble, and it is hard conditions because the pitch is soft, and the longer the game's going and the players are running about, they're obviously cutting it up in every bit of the area.
That's a nice piece of play from Celtic. Ernie Engels took on a left-footed shot from outside the box that he probably didn't have to mark. He maybe forced it a bit, and it was an easy enough block, and now County are going to come away.
Yeah, but good play between Johnson and Engels down that right hand side, being patient. Engels certainly grown into it. Started well, everyone thought, yeah, this guy's a real deal. Off the boil a wee bit, to be expected, but I think over the last 3 or 4 games he's certainly shown that there is a player there.
It's an ugly watch, isn't it?
I don't know if it's because I had lowered my expectations so much. I think they're doing okay in it, but maybe because I was expecting worse. I think Celtic are keeping it much better than I expected from this.
I've seen uglier, if I'm honest, as Celtic breaks through.
Why is he not
he's got to play that.
Yeah, Keogh goes into the box, and it's just, or is it Rio Hatate in the end, I think, takes it into the box. They're half-hearted penalty claims. Again, he just couldn't quite get it out of his feet.
He couldn't, but I think the ball from Ida, he manages to squeeze it through. He has got to go left, but even when he gets it through Hatate, I think he doesn't put enough on it. Now,
does that change at all if Hatate goes down immediately, Gordon?
Yeah, I think
he's tugged his.
I think Hatate has bailed Ross County Campbell right out there, because if he goes down the first minute he feels that he goes down, I think the referee's got to point to the penalty spot there. Hatate, all credit to him, tries to stay on his feet and tries to get the shot away, and it comes to nothing. But that was a little warning for him.
Was there a more obvious pass from Adam Ida on to Yang out the other side?
Without doubt, he just doesn't see it. He's in acres of space. He chooses the wrong pass, and it's the wrong way to pass as well. So a little for Ross County.
It's another good move this from Celtic. They're managing to just about get by with that left side in particular. So Alex Vaille's side, in fact, forget that, it's all bobbly. But I was going to say that's the worst affected bit, as Arnie Engels and Alistair Johnson try to combine.
Well, in your honest opinion, is the pitch actually playable?
Yeah.
Oh, it's playable,
100%.
but I think Daz is right. I think you can clearly see this is defrosting with the players moving the ball on it and moving around. It's getting more difficult because it's churning up a wee bit. You get those unpredictable bobbles. So the game is becoming more difficult rather than easier with the players defrosting it.
Yeah, I mean, it's playable, but it just reduces the quality significantly, you would have to say.
Yeah, I think players tend to maybe just take that extra touch just to try and make sure of the pass, and You know, the weight of the pass is so important this afternoon, because, you know, if one bad pass and all of a sudden the bobble's there. Do you know what? I know we give him a lot of criticism. I think Jan's done alright for 26 minutes down the left hand side. He's been positive. Celtic, as I say, are controlling the tempo of the game. But I think Brendan Rodgers would just like a little bit more action round about the Ross County box.
Yeah, freezing conditions, as we've mentioned. I'm sure many of you are feeling it down here as well, but particularly bad in the Highlands. So good to get a game on. Although you lot could have had an extra couple of hours in your kip. That would have just meant a later start.
I was up doing my
yoga,
jumping jacks.
You really
Star
are
jumps.
It's incredible.
I'm incredible, mate. Honestly, I feel great.
Just flying at the start of the new year.
Yeah,
11 days
it's only going to go all downhill.
At least you're realistic about it.
Mm-hmm.
Celtic battling away. I think, is it Kyogo out on that side, and Adam Ida's there as well. They have done plenty of intricate build up to a certain point, Celtic. Alistair Johnson, always a threat down that right hand side. He's got a bit more freedom today with no Nicholas Kuhn in front of him. And Adam Ida just going to try and turn and get the shot away. He knocks it out a bit wide, so he's forced to, I was going to say cross it back in. I think he was still trying to shoot. Maybe there was a lot of power on it.
He just needs to feed that across the 6-yard line. I think that is a shot.
Do you?
I think it is.
So with an awful lot of
power
if it wasn't.
Yeah, by the way, it was good play from him, a good touch, takes away from the defender. I'm very surprised at that, because it's really a tight angle.
I think Celtic are playing the pitch fine. I know they're dealing with a couple of bobbles here and there, but you know what, they're playing their normal kind of game. Maybe they've not got in the final third as much as they would usually do, but you can quite clearly see Engels and Hatate and McGregor, you know, involved. I thought they would have went a wee bit more direct to Ida, but no signs of that as of yet.
And also back to this whole debate we had about Brendan Rodgers and asking fans to be patient and so on. It's hard to get into the final third when all 11 Ross County players are in said third.
Gordon, I watched the first half at Celtic Park on Thursday against Dundee United. Was it Thursday? Wednesday, sorry, my apologies. Dundee United. Celtic had nearly 90% of the possession, and it was the same. Dundee United just loaded everybody back and said to Celtic, break us down. Eventually, it's a little bit like this. They had bags of possession, eventually did break them down.
Yeah, only 80% just now. Struggling a bit.
Exactly. So
they've dropped their levels.
They're dropped their levels away from home. So yeah, the key to this afternoon has got to be patient, but you've got to concentrate at the other end, because Ross County are still a threat.
Yeah, and here goes Ross County, but it just goes out for a goal kick. And I think we're credit to Celtic, Mark. Certainly in the stats I'm looking at currently, Celtic have 90% pass accuracy, easy for me to say, on this pitch,
on this surface. Yeah, that's very good. But their movement's been very good as well, and they've tweaked things a wee bit, and they've given that away there. But that's what Ross County are waiting for.
Ross County, that's what they have to do, is try and nick it off, but then Celtic nick it back.
It's a double-edged sword
there for Kyogo.
Yeah, first booking of the game. Matthew McDermott gets the yellow card out on Noah Kenna.
But as a double-edged sword, Ross County waiting an opportunity. They pounce, they promote bodies forward, and if they don't get the pass right, that's them, they're opened up. But that time Kyogo just gets wiped out by Kenna. Quite rightly a yellow card.
Long game for him now.
Yeah, Noah Kenna returning to Ross County on loan recently. Transfer window very much open. It's always a slow start to January. You hope it picks up a bit. The first few days naturally taken up, but there's so many games as well, so you know, focus is on that. I'm thinking back to the previous years on this show. We had a winter break, and then that full 2 weeks is really spent hyper-analysing the transfer window, whereas we've got big games to distract us. I did notice Liam Boyce has secured a move away this morning from Hearts to Derry City.
Yeah,
that's been announced today. So does that free up a space in the squad, certainly, for Hearts to bring in more attackers? You would certainly expect them to, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and plus if I think Boyce may be a big earner, Gordon.
Chance for Celtic if it sits down, and it just won't for Callum McGregor, and then Arnie Engels with the left foot over the top. It just wouldn't sit. Callum McGregor, he's in a perfect shooting position, and he's just waiting on the ball to settle to swing his foot at it, and couldn't quite get it away.
It was brilliant play from Celtic.
Actually, there's a good touch from a county defender in there.
Brilliant play to build up, to get it into Kyogo. Kyogo gets a wee bit of luck there, but McGregor in a good position. Yeah, you're right, it was a good touch from the the county defender just to take it away, and then Engels tries to shape that into the top corner. Maybe should have done better, but a lot of bodies in front of him. But better from Celtic, moving the ball forward quickly.
You're talking about Hearts there, Gordon. The terrific story from James Wilson when he back into school. The Janny said to him, "Did you see the game, son?" He said, "I scored in it." So
that's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that right?
The Edinburgh Derby goes
And
back
he
in
still
after
gets-
he goes to school still, and someone said, "Did you see the game?" And he said, "I scored in it."
The old Janny.
Obviously, Johnny didn't see the game.
Yeah, he's just not putting two together. I don't know, but that was a good line. I enjoyed that, I have to say. I was still waiting for transfer news out of your team, Motherwell, Gordon, because as far as I can gather,
brought one in midfield.
No, but for this afternoon, as far as I can gather, they don't have a goalie. So
Don't need one. We're playing Hibs.
I was
Don't need a goal.
expecting
Motherwell
something
don't.
to be announced this
Oxborough.
morning.
Where's injured, is he?
And the number 2's been recalled by West Ham. They have no goalie.
So who they got to play in a backy?
Well, they were supposed to be signing Archie Mayer, who from Norwich, I think. He's Scottish, isn't he? But it hasn't been announced yet, certainly. So,
They didn't sign him last night. It'd be a nightmare.
You're too late. I did that one last night.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Cut that out. Can't it be? I can't believe I'm the same way.
The same joke book as Hugh Keevins.
I said it'd be a great newspaper headline. Nightmare.
It was Gordon Mayer that ended my Motherwell career. I'll never forgive him.
Gordon Mayer, who was he?
He played left wing. They signed him from Morton about 100 grand or something, and I get my contract ripped up. The one that was an offer.
Bet you would have taken that well.
I didn't take it too well. And it was my two ex-teammates that bombed me, Tom Maclean, Tom Forsyth. I used to travel with them.
Yeah, they knew you inside out. Knew what they were getting.
Exactly.
Rip that contract up.
It was probably the best decision they two ever made. Could you imagine me playing with Motherwell, living in Motherwell? Not living with me.
well, what a celebrity he would be.
I'd be standing outside Asda getting selfies.
Oh, good ball in from the right hand side from Kyogo.
Tough one to deal with. Yeah, for Lopata.
Just kicks the ball up into the air.
Well, I commend every player on the park because they're putting on a proper game of football here in trying conditions, and Ross County having the occasional foray towards Schmeichel, but it's predominantly Celtic, and this is Engels again, set piece.
Yeah, more of a outswinger this time, you would imagine, from Arnie Engels on the near side. Celtic looking for that breakthrough. 34 gone. They'll definitely be content. They'll be fine with the performance. Just no goal yet. It's what's missing. Of course, they would prefer a few more clear-cut chances as well, but they might always have been difficult to come by on a day like this.
But they come again.
Yep, they've been so dominant on the ball. But you're right, Gordon, with what you say. Ross County got everybody behind the ball, 40 yards from their own goal. So that is difficult to break down. You have to move teams from side to side and wait for an opening. You can quite clearly see their Celtic, trying that, but just not on the same page.
They're well disciplined, Ross County, they're
hurt his knee here, or
just he's complaining about
a pull,
a knock in the face, I think, and there was a hand on the face. I don't think that's ever anything that is going to be given in the box, but there was a hand on Austin Trusty's face, certainly.
No, certainly not enough in that for me. The one, obviously, the Hatate one, going back to that, I think there was certainly a wee tug on Hatate's left arm, enough to put him down. Well, he stayed on his feet, so like Daz says, well done to him. But that's the only real contentious decision so far.
Yeah, they've not really tested goalkeeper, Celtic. I think they'll be happy with the possession stats, but I think they'll be looking to test the goalkeeper a little bit more, and probably before half time maybe get that goal. It's Trusty and good defending.
What did the referee give there? A foul to Celtic?
Yeah, free kick, yeah.
I think he just let them wrestle with each other down by the Celtic corner.
How could that be a Celtic free kick?
Well, you can ask him in the gym.
And Nesbitt had the ball. He does amazing to keep it in the corner flag. Trusty bundles him out. The ball stays in, and Celtic got the free kick. Strange one.
Well, Celtic going for a more direct approach, but fair play
Good
to James Brown. He just watches it the whole way, nods it back to his goalkeeper, which is risky.
Good
like
defending. I like that. That's confident defending from Brown in the right back position there.
Kasper Schmeichel will be
freezing,
extra cold because he's not had much to do.
What do you do with your goalkeeper? Because you obviously you're getting cold, didn't you? Do you run about your box? Do you shuttles?
By the way, see at the ice hockey, I was watching the goalkeeper.
Back to the ice hockey.
They do it. They skate across the pitch, and you think you're not keeping yourself warm. It must just be to keep them moving. Do a few stretches.
Good run from Callum McGregor. It's got a bit sticky under the feet of Adam Ida, but he does keep it. And Rio Hatate involved as well. Celtic really are plugging away. Chance for Ida to head it down. It just won't sit. It's blocked by the goalkeeper. It seems to be that the goalmouths are a particular problem, because anytime the ball sits, it never quite.
Well, it's like treacle, doesn't it?
Never quite bounces up for people to then get the shot away.
It's a great move, great ball from Engels, good knockdown, and Kyogo just couldn't get it out his feet. Decent enough save.
I fancied him there. I don't know, I'd need to see it again. Should he take it first time? But I think it was a good move from Celtic, and I think you're right, Gordon. I think the conditions maybe played a little part there again. But it was a good move from Celtic, and good goalkeeping. Really good goalkeeping.
I think when you play two up front, that's exactly what you're looking for, that relationship. Either
he's
back
done everything
post,
right.
Yeah, knocked down. And does it just...
He's done everything. It's
good reactions from Kyogo, because it's under his feet. Has to be so quick. It's a good save from the goalkeeper.
He's a new one in me. This is only his 4th or 5th game in goal for Ross County.
Amisa.
Yeah, he's done well.
Well, not so well for, was it Kevin Nesbitt's free kick? Was he in goals for that? It just rolled through his hand at Pittodrie, but his teammates dug him out. But he did well there. Keep the scoreline 0-0. But that's the best chance Celtic have had so far, I think. And just choosing to go into the box, that wee bit more direct approach, and try to work it wide.
Yeah, Kasper Schmeichel does have the ball in his gloves. Just goes straight through to him, he rolls it out. Just about 7 or 8 minutes left of this first half. And we'll see if we can get a breakthrough before the interval does come around. Don't forget, we have 2 Premiership games this afternoon. Later on, St Mirren against Dundee United, Hibs and Motherwell. We mentioned that, Motherwell with their goalkeeping woes. And then tomorrow, Aberdeen Hearts and Rangers St Johnstone. So much intrigue there. Here come Ross County though. I did say Ronan Hale shoots on sight, but he's blazed that one miles over the bar.
I don't blame him for that. It's good play. He's not seen a lot of the ball, Gordon. It comes to him, he's just, I think he's put it through Truss's legs, and he's seen a sight of the goal. I am not blaming him. Have a go, but he was well off target.
It's a hard one for him. He is, on the angle there, 18 yards out, same as Daz. He has to take that on. He does well to wriggle away from Trusty, right enough. Was it Kyogo that actually gave the ball away? Yang, was it in the wide area?
It doesn't matter who it was. Yang. Yeah,
it was Yang. Going back the way and then being dispossessed.
Yeah, he's fell out a little bit, Hugh, down this left hand side. Celtic got some good joy down the left hand side with I and obviously Yang, but the ball seems to have escaped him now.
A drawback that when you're a football player.
That's good play. That's
lovely.
good play from Celtic. That's a great ball.
We have an opener in Dingwall.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
And Celtic have the breakthrough that has been coming all afternoon. 40 minutes on the clock, and it is Kyogo. It was a good move out to the right, a ball into the danger area. It was just looking for that touch with the front post run, and Kyogo gets it, knocks it beyond Amisa and into the back of the net, and Celtic lead.
That was a combination of what Brendan Rodgers was talking about, because that was stylish. That was a goal you'd be happy to see any time on any pitch, anywhere.
Trusty had that in his own half there, right? And there's 4 passes and the ball's in the back of the net. A brilliant play from Celtic. Great run from Kyogo as well. Great ball from Johnson. Right from Trusty, ball in, flick. McGregor out to Johnson. Johnson plays a terrific ball in. Kyogo does the rest.
It's the reward for resilience, because for 40 minutes Celtic have plugged away, knocked on the door, and they have kept going, and that was style and resilience.
Be an outstanding goal on a pristine pitch. Never mind this pitch. The way the link-up play from Ida, the support and run from McGregor. But Daz is right to highlight Alistair Johnson's ball across. He's got two Ross County defenders between him and Kyogo, but he still manages to bend it round right across that 6-yard line, and an instinctive finish here from Kyogo. Brilliant goal from Celtic.
I think Brendan Rodgers would be as happy with this 45 minutes as any that Celtic have played this season, because of the conditions and because of the way they have stuck to their task. They've been unlucky. The goalkeeper's pulled off a good save to prevent Kyogo from scoring, but he was helpless there because of the quality.
Sort of a classic Kyogo goal in many ways. Smart, just kind of movement in the box, running across. It was a bit more of a, it's not that usual cutback that you sometimes see. Just a really good ball in from Alistair Johnson.
I think he does very well, and Daz will probably touch on it better than I can. But to stay on side in that situation, he understands that he has to stay behind the county defender and allow Johnson to curl that across. Just times it perfectly, and it's a nice little finish.
I think when Kyogo is looking at Johnston, he's got to leave that front post. You're taught that as a striker. Leave the space and time the run, and he got it to perfection.
11 for the season for Kyogo at the end of a week in which he was apparently announced as moving to Atlanta. Hold on, and he's in again. Kyogo, what a save that is from Jordan Amisa.
Wow.
In the Ross County goal. I thought it was an absolute certainty that Kyogo was going to make that too. Well done to the Ross County stopper.
Two good saves, because the first one I think is it from Ida's flick, and then it comes out to Kyogo, but certainly should put it in the back of the net. Great save.
Did you see that midweek, the story I'm talking about, Kyogo and Atlanta?
Yeah, strange one that, eh?
But did they not sign somebody else and it was a sort of mix up?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But they sort of looked, for all intents and purposes, like they were going to announce Kyogo, and there was like a player profile for Kyogo already created on their website. But then I think they do that for various players. It was all a bit strange, but basically
it was Kenny Miller trying to get him out of Celtic.
Yeah, exactly. He'd do anything.
Yeah, it was strange, because you don't make that big a mistake, do you, to create that profile, and you just wonder how much was behind that.
It's just too. Kenny's my inspiration now, because he once worked here as well.
You could be in the MLS next season.
Yeah. I'm aiming for bigger things.
Did you see the goalie coach as well?
No, who's that?
Elliot Parish is Kenny's mate. He used to play for St Johnstone, didn't he, in Dundee?
Oh, is he there as well?
How good's that? Imagine the phone goes, sorry,
I'm going to text Kenny.
Not seen you in a while. You still get your gloves. How does Atlanta sound?
That's nice.
Put in a word with Ronnie Dyler.
It's not what you know, it's who you know in this game.
I was thinking this because at the start of the year, when Kenny was working here, I went and played golf with him in Elliot Parish. I'm presuming that I'm next. I must get a phone call.
You'll be on
at some point.
Fox or one of the big outlets over there soon.
Like Kitman or something.
Oh, you want to work in the football club?
I might be the social coach.
Social convener.
Yeah, I think I'd be good at that. Yeah.
Are they looking for a chief exec?
You're the man with those new Polonex on.
Going to be a foul, is it? Yeah, I think so. I think Kyogo, he's looked sharp, Mark.
Very sharp. Yeah,
role today.
I think he enjoys playing up there, Ida. I think he enjoys that wee bit of freedom, because Ida then occupies the centre backs. Usually the centre backs are just concentrated on Kyogo, and he needs to be so clever. But you see him there just straying to the right hand side. He certainly should have scored when it came back off the goalkeeper, but he's getting a wee bit more involved in the play. Usually he gets limited touches, but he's had plenty of involvement in this 45 minutes.
I think Hugh makes a great point. I think Brendan Rodgers just now will be a delighted football manager. Tricky conditions up there, freezing cold, everything that could go wrong. Celtic have bossed this first half, and they should be out of sight, to be honest with you. So I think if he gets in at half time, even one, I think he'll be a very happy football manager here.
It's a professional display.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You have to legislate for goalkeepers who are having a good afternoon, but the goalkeeper could do nothing about Kyogo's goal, but he has stopped another couple.
Some of their touches are really, they're playing with a lot of confidence now.
I'd like to know how Celtic trained for this. Just went down to some
field,
public park, chucked some water on it and tried to get the touch in, because it looks like they've done this before, if that makes sense.
It shows how good they are as players, technically, how good they are, that they can move the ball at this speed on this pitch quite easily. But it doesn't look like they're struggling. Yes, we've got a couple of bobbles, but by and large they've moved it really well.
Just 1 minute to be added, and in fact we're almost there. There should be time for Celtic to take the corner. But other than that,
look at the amount of snow around the pitch there. They've been busy with the shovels this morning.
yeah, they've done as good a job as possible, you would have to say. I saw someone standing at the corner flag with his trackies tucked into his socks. That's when you know it's cold. Maybe that's still in fashion in Dingwall. There is every chance.
In Glasgow.
He's getting out the night with that.
Good ball into the box. It is a Celtic head, but there are a few heads in there. It goes into the goalkeeper's gloves, and I suspect once he launches it, that will be that. Cameron Carter-Vickers was involved, and there we are, half-time in Dingwall. Andrew Maclean.
Ross County 0, Celtic 1. The half-time score, a freezing day, a testing pitch. Brendan Rodgers' side have kept on pushing though, and they are ahead through a Kyogo goal. They were dominant from the start. Just 7 minutes in, Kyogo with a lovely turn on the edge of the box. He went for a shot, but it bobbled towards Adam Ida, who was in the box. It allowed him the chance to shoot. He was aiming for the bottom corner, but he found the side netting. A few minutes later, Adam Ida with the ball across. Alistair Johnson playing a more advanced role and found himself in the centre of the box. He went for a backheel flick, but that was saved by Jordan Amisa. Ross County really hadn't been in it at all until Austin Trusty took a heavy touch outside his own box. It let the hosts in. Noah Chilvers with the shot probably should have hit the target. His effort going wide though. Celtic moving the ball about not too badly despite the poor surface, just keeping patient, looking for those opportunities. Arnie Engels curling one over with 25 minutes on the clock. Then a chance for Kyogo. It was Ida with a header towards him, middle of the box, only a few yards out, but the ball got caught under the striker's feet and the shot was tame in the end. But 5 minutes before the break, Kyogo got the opener. It was a really nice team move as well, a lovely flick from Adam Ida in the centre of the park. He found Callum McGregor, fed it out to the right for Alistair Johnson, and a really nice low ball across the box. Kyogo was there in the 6-yard box, an instinctive finish for 1-0. He then looked certain to make it 2 moments later, but Jordan Amesa pulling off a couple of good saves to keep the deficit at 1. Kyogo's goal the difference so far in Dingwall. The half-time score, Ross County 0, Celtic 1.
Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard with Call Robert Accident Repair. They'll collect, repair and deliver your car. Outstanding service. The winning team all season long. This is Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard.
Half time in Dingwall. Celtic lead by 1-0 A Kyogo goal. How would you sum it up, Hugh Keevins?
Well, Kyogo for a start has looked sharp as a tack. He hasn't scored as many goals as people expected this season, but he has been very sharp today. Adam Ida has helped him by doing the heavy lifting, leaving Kyogo to do what Kyogo does best. The goalkeeper made a magnificent save, in fact 2 terrific saves from Kyogo, and he's also scored. He could have had a first half hat-trick. So he's the standout for me, but the entire Celtic team have given a professional account of themselves on very difficult conditions. They have mastered the ball, mastered the turf, and they are thoroughly deserving of their 1-goal lead. It could have been so much more, and I can only repeat that Brendan Rodgers would be as satisfied with that 45 minutes as any they have played, including the 5 goals they scored in 45 minutes against Celtic Park, against Ross County at Celtic Park, when conditions were perfect.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think Celtic have been outstanding. I think they've dealt with the pitch perfectly well. They're playing the pitch like it's a pristine surface, but I think they've adapted well to that little tweak in shape where Kyogo and Ida kind of playing centrally together and Alistair Johnson up high and Yang off the other side. It's not often easy just to do that, just play a different way. But Hugh's right when they say they've dominated the ball, 80% possession. They've created good opportunities. If it wasn't for the Ross County goalkeeper, it certainly would have been more. And they score an absolute fantastic goal. So Brendan Rodgers will be delighted with that first 45.
Is that the way it feels to you, Gordon, as well?
Yeah, I echo what the lads are saying. You can't be but impressed with the way Celtic went about their business this afternoon. I like the look of this Kyogo and Ida. I know it's away to Ross County, they're dominating the ball. I think the movement's very good. The goal's excellent. The goal is absolutely excellent. It starts with Trusty inside his own half, and 4 passes later Kyogo's put the ball in the back of the net. And we're talking about, it's got to be difficult in the pitch. The ball's played in brilliantly to Ida, flicks it to McGregor, to Johnston, who plays in a lovely ball. Kyogo, timing of the run is everything, puts it in the back of the net. Brendan Rodgers will be really happy. Next goal for Celtic will cement the victory for them. They've just got to be careful. There was a little warning there. You know, Ross County forced a corner early on, and then Trusty with the mistake could have been punished. So 1-0, it's still Ross County still in the game, but you can't see anything else but Celtic going on and win this game comfortably.
Well, Brendan Rodgers would be disgusted if Celtic didn't go on to win. You know, even the 1 goal advantage that they have ought to be enough, but you can only applaud them for the way they've approached their work. They had a game against Dundee United midweek. They get Thursday off. They have to travel to Inverness on Friday, and they're out here at midday, and they are giving a tremendous account of themselves.
I suppose we should maintain perspective in that even if the pitch is bad and even if Celtic have injuries, they still, you know, would be big favourites and should win. So we get all that stuff. But Andrew Maclean, you're often looking for reasons that it might not go the way of the so-called big team, and as we said, they're there. The conditions, the different team. Has this been more comfortable than, or has been a sort of impressive level of comfort for Brendan Rodgers' side?
Yeah, because people always look at that type of stuff and think, can it be a leveler? The conditions, the pitch, the goal mouths look especially bad, as we mentioned earlier on. But I think just the way that Celtic have approached it, and the fact that they're just playing it as if it's any other game, they're not really taking that into account. We've seen how quickly Celtic can move the ball, you know, in any game this season, and once again they're just doing it the same as they always would. A couple of times they've maybe tried to go long, but most of the time they're being patient in their build up. They're moving the ball around really well. It created a few chances early on, and then it led to the goal. Gordon talked about it there. Just a really, really lovely team move. It could have been scored on any pitch anywhere in the world in any conditions, because they just linked up really nicely. Kyogo finding himself where he often does when he's in top form, and he could have scored more than one today. But yeah, Celtic are certainly looking good, especially with that slight tweak that they've had as well, with Ida and Kyogo playing through the middle. It means Alistair Johnson is playing a lot higher than he normally would. Arnie Engels is shuttling out to the right to cover that space. They've not really seen the effect going the other way. Ross County haven't managed to attack that side too much, but it's working in attack. Alistair Johnson not only finding himself in good crossing positions, there was that moment earlier on in the half when he found himself in the middle of the 6-yard box and could have scored a backheel flick. So all gone well for Celtic so far. Brendan Rodgers will just be hoping that they can maybe add a couple of goals to it, a couple more goals to it in the second half.
Are the conditions getting more difficult just because the pitch is churning up more as the game goes on, understandably?
Yeah, the more the ball rolls around on it, the more the players run about on it, the more of the pitch, first of all, it's revealing underneath the frost, but the more that it's starting to cut up as well. And the goal mouths especially bad, but all over the pitch it looks really, really bobbly, and it's probably just more of a testament to how Celtic have moved the ball around, that it hasn't really looked that way when they've been in possession. They've managed to be in possession very, very nicely and pass the ball around well, but you'd imagine it will just continue to get worse and worse as the game goes on. But you'd imagine they'll just treat it in the same way that they have all game and keep on passing the ball around, because it's been working for them. But yeah, it's not looking great at all.
Does Don Cowie seem frustrated, or when you're just 1-0 down against Celtic you sort of take that and know that, you know, you might get your moment to get back into it?
Yeah, I don't think he's the most emotional guy, really, Don Cowie. If you ever see him in any interviews, he's very measured, he's very calm. He's looked like that on the touchline. He knows that Celtic are going to have all the possession in a game like this. He knows that if Ross County get opportunities, they need to make the most of it. They probably didn't with that one where Austin Trusty just took a heavy touch and it meant the ball rolled to a Ross County player. It was played out to Noah Chilvers. He had a lot of space. He really should have hit the target and tested Kasper Schmeichel, but they maybe will have a couple of opportunities to get into that Celtic third. But he'll know that if they do get those opportunities, any opportunities in the second half, they'll need to make the most of them. They do have options on the bench, maybe someone like Jordan White, who's a different option that can cause a bit of chaos in that Celtic backline, might be the man to look to. But I think in a game like this where Celtic are on form, they are dominant, I think Don Cowie's probably not going to be too frustrated with what he's seen from his team.
You see this changing significantly in the second half? You expect Celtic to go on and add to it, Gordon? Or
yeah, the way the game's going, yes, but obviously you can't judge this, you know, two halves the same. That's why football at half time, you've got to tweak one or two things. I think Andrew makes a good point there about Jordan White. I'd be looking at that. I don't think Ross County can go up the pitch. Celtic are just dominating the play. They've got to try and get up the pitch and try and get a bit of rest for their back four, get their midfield squeezed up, and try and ask a question to Celtic. But you've got to say that, and I think Hugh summed it up brilliantly, a professional performance from Celtic so far.
Andrew, does it look like Don Cowie would turn to his bench? I assume that Celtic won't at the break. I just wonder if the hosts have got a plan or a tweak to try and level things up.
Yeah, it doesn't look as if there is going to be any changes at the break. Just waiting. In fact, there may well be, because the fourth official, or I think one of the Ross County staff members, is holding the board at the moment, ready to give to the fourth official to signal any changes. So I'll wait and see exactly what that change is. Conor Randall, who is Ross County's captain, wearing the armband today, is the first out, and there is actually going to be a couple of changes for Ross County in this second half. So maybe Don Cowie not too happy with what he saw from his team in that first half, or maybe he's seen a couple of ways that they can try and mix things up and cause Celtic problems in the second half. I mentioned Jordan White. He is one of the men coming on to the pitch, and we've seen it before. He's scored in big games. It's against Rangers, really, isn't it, that he's had a good record before, but he's got that physical presence that he's able to make things happen in that final third. A different kind of option as well to what they've got. I can't see Ronan Hale out there. He is maybe a smaller, quicker player and can try and cause problems in behind, but I think he is going to be one of the ones to make way. And there's also going to be a debut for Kieran Phillips. He's been brought in from Huddersfield Town. He's been playing his football recently for Sacramento Republic. That's who he'd spent the last bit of time on loan at, scoring 12 goals in 28 games. So he is an attacking threat. Quite a change of scenery, going from playing for Sacramento Republic to playing for Ross County in these -6 temperatures or whatever it is as well. But yeah, those are the changes they're going to make. Kieran Phillips on the pitch for his debut. Jordan White is also coming on for them. Ronan Hale is one of the players making way and just trying to work out who exactly the second change is for Ross County, because that will be Kieran Phillips coming on for them. We have Arnie Engels standing over the ball. We are ready to go for this second half.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. Get advice on keeping infections and viruses away when school returns.
So the second half getting underway in Dingwall. Celtic lead by 1-0, and of course we will stay with it. We've got some breaking news coming out of Ibrox this afternoon, and it involves the position of Rangers manager Philippe Clement. New CEO Patrick Stewart has held a briefing this morning. We've not heard too much from him. He has spoken this morning and says that Philippe Clement has the board's backing and will remain as manager, Hugh, but has warned the Ibrox boss that results must improve.
Well, that's the most understandable statement of the day. Of course, results must improve. At the moment, as things stand, Rangers will be 18 points behind Celtic by close of play today, and they face St Johnstone tomorrow under trying circumstances. The fans are in a rebellious mood. They are not happy. There have been 2 statements so far from 2 separate fan groups calling on the club to remove Philippe Clement. So we have a standoff here between a support who want rid of the manager and a board who will not get rid of the manager. So results must improve. That goes without saying.
What's going to be interesting for Rangers is going forward. Now, the January window's open. Do the Rangers board, who have just given the manager the backing, back him also in the transfer window? That's going to be an interesting one. I'm not really surprised at this, Gordon. I don't know financially if Rangers in that position to probably pay Clement off. Look, he's going to finish second. If you look at the positives for him, and there's not a lot out there, but his European run's good. He was unlucky in the League Cup final, get beat with penalties. He's still in the Scottish Cup. As much as the Rangers fans are crying for a change, I'm not surprised.
Good chance for Celtic. It's Yang twisting and turning, fires a shot in that's saved by Jordan Amisa. So the new CEO Patrick Stewart says the reasons for the team underperforming is down to deep-rooted issues that he intends to address. He says, I need to make some tough decisions, but I'm committed to making the right ones for Rangers, not just the popular ones.
I'm not quite sure I follow that. Deep-rooted issues are preventing Rangers from winning football matches at St Mirren and Motherwell and Dundee.
To be fair, I don't think anyone is under the illusion that it's only Philippe Clement that's holding this operation back. You know, we're talking about money, standard of player, recruitment, all that sort of stuff. So he says, cutting to the chase, we are backing Philippe at this time. It's about taking a deeper look at the issues, addressing them, staying focused on building a stronger future. Changing the manager isn't a silver bullet solution. You know where I've worked previously, and that isn't something that's been effective there, and it's not effective at a lot of football clubs where there's constant change of manager.
Well,
I get that logic, to be fair.
Yeah. But he's saying what he had to say today. Unless he came out and said that the club have just sacked Philippe Clement, all of the stuff that you've read out is precisely what he has to say. The question is, does it placate the Rangers supporters? And my guess would be no, it does not. So we'll have to take a temperature check tomorrow when Rangers play St Johnstone at Ibrox. Size of the crowd, mood of the crowd, and then we can move forward. But he's on a tightrope, Philippe Clement.
Do you know, so I think he makes a great point there, Hugh, about, you know, his ex-club. You look at the state they've got themselves in, and I'm not backing Clement. I've never been a fan, right? But we've had the Gio coming in, an upgrade in Gerrard. We've had Murty, the best coach in the world, coming in.
Michael Beale.
Sorry, my apologies. Who was after that? We've had another. Who's after?
No, that was.
Yeah, it was after
Gio,
Beale, and then
then
we've had Clement come in, going to be the best thing that, you know, is going to really run Brenda. So it's all went wrong, and it's just change. I know the Rangers fans are fed up. I watched them on Thursday night. Imagine going up to Dundee, paying that money and having to suffer that, and I'm totally with them that. But I think he's right. For some reason, there's no point just now. I think come the summer, I think there'll be a big change. But just now, I don't think there's any point.
Patrick Stewart says, if we rush and react every time there are some poor results, we're in danger. Just being back in the same place at a year's time or 18 months' time or however long. I want to be clear, I'm not saying everything is fine. I think fans are frustrated, I get that. I've been a fan my entire life. I've been in that position. We're all frustrated. If you look at the away results, you know the record's there. It's not good, it's not what's expected. But ultimately, Mark, Philippe Clement stays.
Well, when does that statement expire, though? Because he states results must improve. What if results don't improve? I'm talking in the immediate future. So when does it expire? Because with Rangers fans, yes, Rangers fans will back their team tomorrow at home against St Johnstone, but the next tricky away fixture comes round that Rangers don't win, quickly followed by another poor result. Does that go out the window? Is there changes? So, like the guys, pretty obvious stuff from Patrick Stewart when he's addressing the fans for basically the first time in a tricky situation. But I think I'm with you. Philippe Clement is in borrowed time as we speak, and these players aren't helping him as well. They don't get off lightly in this. Too many have failed. Too many managers. I
don't disagree that he's in borrowed time. Listen, I've never been a fan, right? I've never been a fan of him, but I think that Patrick Stewart's right. You can't just keep going change. And what happens in 18 months' time or a year's time, it's got to be the same again. Now, the board have got to take big responsibility. They appoint the manager, so they've got to take a share of the blame here. So I just think that it's the right decision just now. Try and calm everything down. My big concern is, do you back Clement in the January window and then he's out of job?
It's not that they are not backing him as such, but Patrick Stewart, as part of that briefing today, was asked, and again, I think in a way this might anger Rangers fans as much as the managerial point says there will be one, possibly two signings.
Yeah, that they're safeguarding themselves, let's be honest. And plus the fact,
or is that all they can do at this
moment?
Yeah,
but I think you're correct there financially. They might get one or two out. You look at try to get Dessers out, high earner, maybe free up a bit of money as well. But I'm not surprised at that. I don't think that Rangers were ever going to chuck 3-4 signings at Clement, because they know, and Mark says, when does that change? If he gets a few bad results, and then the next manager left with the same problem.
Let's bring the guys in. I know they're all ready for their 3 o'clock games, but it's very interesting, this breaking news. It comes during a big match for us, which is quite frustrating as well. But Ross County 0, Celtic 1, 52 minutes on the clock. County are going to be forced into a change, I suspect. They have an injury concern. They made 2 changes at the break already. They do trail by that goal to 0. Celtic looking good despite extremely testing circumstances, or conditions I should say, in Dingwall. Roger, Hannah, what's your reaction to that briefing from Patrick Stewart, the news that Philippe Clement has the backing? I'm not sure that's a surprise, because he's still here this morning. He was always likely to remain, but just to have it confirmed, if you like.
Well, it's a vote of confidence, Gordon, but I think it's only a vote of confidence for Saturday, January 11. If things change, if there's a slip-up at home to St Johnstone tomorrow, if they're to lose at home to Aberdeen on Wednesday night, then I think all bets are off. It was interesting that Patrick Stewart cited his former club, Manchester United, and the patience they showed with Eric Ten Hag. That was falsely placed patience, and Eric Ten Hag eventually had to go. I think Philippe Clement will eventually have to go, but for now the Rangers board seem to want to give him as much time as they possibly can.
In fairness, and I'm loath to compare the two clubs too much, but is the comparison not that club has shown that changing manager doesn't fix everything, rather than the right to stick with Eric Ten Hag? I don't think that's the point being made, is it?
Listen, they have changed. I would imagine Ruben Amorim will be given time and given money. I'll be fascinated here in the open line, Gordon, what Rangers fans think of Patrick Stewart's first real media call. I don't think they'll be too impressed, to be perfectly honest. We don't know what has been said behind the scenes. Philippe Clement was very bullish after that 1-1 draw, more drop points at Dens on Thursday night when he said the board were 200% behind him. He, at that stage, clearly knew what Patrick Stewart was going to say today to people. But Rangers, it's like anything else, Gordon. Rangers need to start winning games. They've taken 13 points from 33 on the road this season. They've got a negative goal difference. The performances at Dundee offensively and Hibs defensively simply weren't good enough. And unless Philippe Clement can quickly turn things round, he's either going to lose the board or he's going to lose the few Rangers fans that are still with him.
And maybe just a bit of background, Roger, for people listening as to why Patrick Stewart spoke and how this came around, that sort of thing.
Well, I think Patrick Stewart was always expected to speak to the media tomorrow. He hasn't really done an introductory press conference, if you like, on the record with the Scottish media. It was schemed for tomorrow. It was brought forward to today, probably off the back of the comments from Philippe Clement on Thursday night that he had 200% backing from the club. But you'll know yourself, Gordon, there have been various stories for a number of weeks now that he is one defeat from the sack, one result from the sack, and during it all, he's always seemed to pick up a result or a performance. You think 6-0 against Kelly, 3-0 against Celtic, the performance against Tottenham in the Europa League. He's always managed to stave it off. But again, those 2 away draws, 4 drop points in the last week, seemed to turn the heat up on him again. And I think Patrick Stewart felt compelled to come out as a new Rangers backroom, hierarchy, if you like. Fraser Thornton in there as club chairman. He hasn't spoken to the media at any length yet either, so I think they felt they wanted to get their side of it out and try and explain to Rangers fans where the board sits just now. I'm not sure Rangers fans are necessarily full square behind them.
What do you think, Fraser Wishart? We've had an update of sorts rather than a couple of days of speculation.
Yeah, I think it had to be done. I think the statements from the supporters, various supporters groups yesterday, demanding that Philippe Clement lose his job. Patrick Stewart with his pre-arranged press day yesterday, moved to today. I think he had to say something, and I've got no problem with him sticking with the manager just now. I think Rangers know the league has gone, and I think I was interested in the kind of root and branch review was a quote of the entire football department. So that's going to look at everything to do with Rangers, from youth development to scouting, to analysts, to the management, to everywhere as well. And I also noticed that he was talking about you can't keep going back to shareholders and asking them for loans, which then get turned into shares, knowing very well they're probably not going to get a return on their investment in the football club as well. So it looks like there's a complete change over the next 6 months in Rangers' business strategy and their football strategy as well. But he did say didn't offer Philippe Clement any cast iron guarantees as well. And sometimes it's small words like that tell you. I think he had to say something. I think just now, if you've not got the money to back a new manager, and that might be something that they're looking at as well. If they get rid of Luke Clom just now, if they get money to back a new manager just now, I don't think they would have. So that's going to be part of this whole review as to how Rangers can move forward. But certainly Patrick Shearer's going to come in. He's going to bring a fresh set of eyes. People down south that I know, certainly in the Union background as well, tell me he's a good operator as well. So and he will try and change things quickly. But for Philip Clement, no cast iron guarantees, I think, tells it all, because you can't just keep losing football games.
Big moment in Dingwall. Ross County have been awarded a penalty. It's for an alleged push by Alistair Johnson as the cross came in. He's not protesting his innocence too much. I didn't think there was loads of contact, but then you could say the Ross County player is just about to head it in. Why would he go down? I'm not sure those angles are doing us any real favours. What's your take on it?
I really don't know. When I seen it at first, I thought it was a stonewall penalty kick. We've seen it from a different angle. He's caught the wrong side. Defensive wise, he's caught the wrong side, but he's not really protesting a lot, which sometimes you look at and think, oh, there's a bit of a guilty look about him.
I suppose we're back to this one, Mark. It's been given. Yeah. So can you see enough to overturn that from here? There might be an offside. Depends. I think
on the decision,
it might be offside as well. So we'll have to get a look.
No, I don't think I can see enough to overturn it, because you're right. Is it Phillips in at the back post? Just going to, looks like he's going to get on the end of that. I think Daz is right with Johnson. He's the wrong side. Even the slightest bit of contact on his back, you run the risk. So a mistake positionally from Alistair Johnson.
Yeah, penalty given.
Yeah, and I think it's the right decision.
Chance for Jordan White to level things up then on the hour mark. It was hard to see this coming in the first half, but that's it. You get into the box, you might get a penalty, a decision might go your way, there might be a mistake.
He's still telling him to hold on.
Yeah, he's still having a word in his ear, Matthew McDermott. They're now checking the offside part of it.
Well, that part of it looks clear cut to me.
No, I'm not sure the 14 who got the ball out wide. He had a teammate who was certainly in an offside position.
He looks
he was
okay.
Closer. Well, he was closer.
He looks a bit. It's Don Cowie pacing up and down that. I think Jordan White. It just upsets you as a penalty kick taker. You're ready to go, and then all of a sudden you're told to hold it. He picks the ball up again. So they'll just be desperate to get this
penalty given. So there we go. He was onside before the cross came in, and what a big moment this is, because Celtic, despite the conditions, were very, very comfortable in that first half. They looked good in the conditions, but Ross County have gone a bit more direct in the second half, and on the hour mark have a great chance through Jordan White. Kasper Schmeichel hasn't had much to do. Looks like he's got a few layers on under his strip this afternoon.
He does, doesn't he?
And Jordan White's going to try and level things up in the highlights. It's a long run up.
He'll get there in 5 minutes.
Especially in this pitch, he's going to have to trudge his way through. Steps up, right footed.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Game on in the Highlands. Ross County 1, Celtic 1.
Good penalty. I think Ross County deserve it. Celtic have started this second half sloppy. Ross County obviously have made 3 changes by now, one enforced, and it was Greaves who puts the ball across. It was a decent move from them, good ball across, and in my opinion, the right decision from the referee to award the penalty. So well done, Ross County. Don Cowie fighting their way back into this.
Well, the professionalism that Celtic demonstrated in the first half, they did not replicate in the first 15 minutes of the second half. As Mark said, been sloppy. And Jordan White has a terrific scoring record against Celtic. Now Celtic have to win the game all over again. I don't think Alistair Johnston has any doubts in his own mind. They conceded a penalty. It's up to Celtic now to get back to the level they were at in the first 45 minutes and certainly not concede any more.
Look, we gave Celtic all the praise in the world for a first half performance, but I've got to say, Don Cowie changed one or two things. Knew he had to get himself up the pitch. Brought on Jordan White. Andrew called it at half time. Totally agreed with him. What a difference it's made. Game on.
The zip has gone out of Celtic's play. It was there for all to see first half, but somehow the half-time break has also broken the momentum.
He's not made many mistakes, Mark Wilson, but that would go down as one for Alistair Johnston, because penalties can happen, you can give fouls away, but that one only happens because you're out of position, doesn't it?
I just wonder if it's fed into how he's been asked to play. Maybe when the ball's coming across, he's caught too far up the pitch. It's a fantastic touch from Grieve, works it well. And by the way, I've been in that position myself where you are outside the man who's basically in the 6-yard line, and you think, please don't pick him out. But it's a good ball across. Like I say, any sort of pressure on the striker's back, on Phillips' back, is going to result in a penalty kick. He would have known right away, I think, that that's going to result in a penalty. So poor positional play, and he's been punished for it.
Yeah, good play from Ross County. Let's look at the attacking side of it. Good play, they got it in the wide area. Good ball in. It's a telling ball. It's killed the Celtic defence. Johnston caught on the wrong side. You could tell right away, because he doesn't make too much of it, Alistair Johnston. You can tell the guilt. And Jordan White, the last man to score a hat-trick in the Premier League before Igaman, sticks it calmly in the back of net.
Where have you heard that stat?
That's beautiful.
Where have you got that
I've
from?
been waiting for him to score. Is that true, Gordon?
It is.
How did he know that? Was that on Beat the Pundit or something?
So. We spoke about it
no,
last
it was
week.
not. Knowledge is everything in this game.
It's quite remarkable. The second half has been all about Ross County. They've equalised, they're going after a second here, they're putting the ball into the Celtic box. Celtic have come out a different team.
He's had a good festive period. Jordan White scored Boxing Day, scored the 29th. He's scored in this one as well. He's up to 9 for the season in all competitions, helped by 4 in the League Cup group stages earlier on in the campaign, but stuck that penalty away well.
We didn't have a bit of pressure on him, of course. When you look at Schmeichel, he's big enough without all those jerseys on, but Schmeichel went the wrong way, calmly side-footed it into the corner, and all of a sudden we've got game on in the Highlands, and Celtic know they're in a game now.
It's always, it doesn't really matter what the teams are, Mark. You see this happening all the time, but just like, how can Ross County look so different?
Yeah.
What did they think they were doing in the first half that they couldn't do, and why is that so different now? They couldn't really get near Celtic. Now it looks like they've brought 2 extra bodies on and not taken anyone off.
Yeah, but I think a couple of things. I think Celtic obviously misplaced passes and been sloppy, but Ross County just getting the ball forward quicker. I think with Jordan White on the pitch, it allows him to do that. He will certainly challenge trusting Carter Vickers aerially, but it's just that, you know, they've upped the tempo a bit rather than sitting being so defensive. So you've got to take your hat off to the manager for recognising where the problem was, addressing it, and his players for carrying it out.
It changed his shape. It's quite simple. It changed his shape, and it's obviously and brought personnel on to work to that shape, and it's certainly working for them. And they're turning Celtic, they're asking questions of Celtic, they're getting closer to them, not letting them dominate the game in the middle of the park. So well done to the Ross County manager. He knew that he had to change it to get back into the game, and he's certainly done that.
He touched on the Celtic pass accuracy in the first half. It's not there anymore, and they're going to have to come into this game again because they've dropped out, and Ross County fancy this now.
Yeah. How many teams nowadays play 2 up against Celtic?
I think the pass accuracy's only dropped by 1%. I think so. Maybe it'll come down a bit before the end of the game. But Ross County 1, Celtic 1, 65 minutes on that clock, and it is a very different football match now. Jordan White's penalty drawing Ross County level, and Celtic looking much more uncomfortable than they were in that first 45. We're also reflecting on the big breaking news this afternoon. It's that new Rangers CEO Patrick Stewart has spoken and backed the manager Philippe Clement. There's been so much debate for the last few weeks, but ramped up by the draw in Dundee about the future of the Rangers manager. He continues to be the Rangers manager. Let's bring David Friel in. We spoke to the other 2 guys. What was your reaction to that this afternoon, David?
It's a vote of confidence, Gordon, but with plenty of caveats for me. And Philippe Clement was asked in midweek after Dens if he felt he still had the board backing. He said 200%. For me, that statement and words from Patrick Stewart isn't 200%. He's been pretty clear. You know, as Fraser said, I can't give cast iron guarantees. He's already laid it on the line that the away record has to improve. So for me, he's okay for now, Philippe Clement, but there's a clear indication that this can't go on forever. And Patrick Stewart was actually, I think, asked again about, you know, how many games, and he refused to kind of comment on that. What I would say is, I think tomorrow will be fascinating just to see the Rangers fan reaction. You know, you've already had, as Hugh said earlier on, statements from kind of leading fan groups. It's been pretty clear that the Rangers fans, in the vast majority, want Philippe Clement out. So what happens tomorrow? Do they just say, well, that's fine, Patrick, thanks for that, let's just go on with things, or do they make their voices heard again? So I don't think Philippe Clement is out of the woods by any stretch of the imagination, Gordon.
Look, the managerial future was the headline act, and it became so in the last few days, Roger. But as we spoke about, this was meant to be a briefing really about transfers in January. And somewhere buried in this is Patrick Stewart saying that Rangers will bring 1, maybe 2 in January, and not more than that. That'd be a particular disappointment to the Rangers fans, do you think?
Oh, I think it definitely will, because I think the Rangers fans have decided, Gordon, that the players currently at the football club aren't good enough to be playing for Rangers. Are they only bringing 1 or 2 in because they've only got the finance to bring 1 or 2 in? Are they only bringing in 1 or 2 because they don't want to allow Philip Clement to bring in 5 or 6, and then they're maybe saddled with players of the same quality they've got just now? Does this mean they've written the season off? Are they just going to let Celtic stroll away? Celtic 15 points clear before they started at Dingwall today. Have they given up the chase for this season? There's still European football there, there's still Scottish Cup football there. I think Rangers supporters, and they've already made their thoughts on the manager clear, I think they'll be disappointed by Patrick Stewart's bulletin on incoming transfers.
I just think on that point, Fraser, the fans then, if they have written off this season, which always sticks in the throat, if they accept that is not going to be a season that ends in any sort of level of success, then the natural thing that would make you feel maybe better about the future is if you're at least promised that the rebuild starts now. But it doesn't look like in the playing front that will be the case.
No, it doesn't look like that, and you know, the season's not a write-off. The league's gone, but they've still got the Scottish Cup, they've still got a decent run in Europe. They can qualify for the latter stages as well, so big games coming up, and I'm sure the Rangers fans have enjoyed the European ties. But also supporters have to remember the last accounts, I think, did they lose 17 million, something like that, Rangers? They've lost money year in, year out, and again, going back to the comments by Patrick Stewart, they can't keep going back to shareholders and supporters for loans, which is basically just putting money into the club knowing they're not going to get it back. So that's going to stop. And I think supporters have to maybe just have a wee bit more patience. Of course, I understand Celtic are in such a great position on and off the field, they're way ahead, but a bit of patience maybe needs to be done here, because there's this review for 6 months looking at every structure within the football club as well, and Rangers fans will just be hoping that brings out a positive element to it. I get supporters don't understand the finances. I'm not brigging these things either, but you have to just look at the basics. The club hasn't got the money, then they can't afford to bring in too many players at this very moment. But the season's not a write-off. There's seeds and there's signs of good play from Rangers. We know the games they've played really well in, but there's also a softness and a weakness where their away form has been terrible. So they're going to try and build on that. They're going to try and win the Scottish Cup and try and get a good run in Europe, and then probably readdress everything in major terms in the summertime.
Yeah, I think part of the quotes Roger Hanna saying no short-term fixes, only signings that will benefit the club in the long term. So is that the hope that you can unearth another Igaman or something during this window?
Yeah, and it's a notoriously difficult window to get players like that, and the January window has tended to be, you know, high profile loan signings. I'm thinking Aaron Ramsey at Rangers, I'm thinking Robbie Keane at Celtic, people like that, you know, that right at the end of the window, that tends to be the market that they have to operate in. If Patrick Stewart and Philip Clement are looking to get the next Hamza, Igaman or whatever in a January window, they'll be doing very well. I'm actually surprised they're not going the other way, and they're not looking for an experienced centre half on loan for the second half of the season, and they're not maybe looking for, you know, another midfielder or winger to bolster the squad for the second half of the season, and then consider it again big picture in the summer, Gordon.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what sort of player they go for. Roger makes a good case there for an experienced centre half. I think that Fraser makes a good point, and that's the reason I think that they've stuck with Clement. It's not, the season ain't going. It's not very good at this moment in time, but they've still got that European. They've still got the Scottish Cup. They've got 3 home games coming up, Gordon. I think this has got to be massive. You know, St Johnstone, Aberdeen, Fraserburgh, the Cup, would you expect them to sail through that? So it'll be interesting to see the reaction tomorrow. Look, I keep saying it, I'm not for Clement, but I can understand the statement.
Celtic have upped this again, Mark, safe to say. They've had some chances, they are piling forward. In fact, they come again. Ross County defending for their lives.
Yeah, they certainly have upped it, working the ball into the wide areas again, testing that Ross County back line. You've got to say, right for Ross County has been outstanding. Got a crucial block on Yang's toe just inside the 6-yard box moments ago, but they are probing again, pretty much back to how they were in the first period. Wonder if it's just a matter of time before
Might
they finally
be
get
an
the second.
interesting change as well, because Johnny Kenny has been getting some words of advice from Brendan Rodgers down there.
Well, they're in the market for what Celtic tend to find in Dingwall. You remember Alessandro Bernabe scoring a winning goal there one Sunday afternoon. Remember Anthony Ralston and the belated header one Wednesday night. Remember Nicholas Kuhn earlier last season scoring late on in the game as Johnny Kenny and Luke McCowan come on. Very interesting, Johnny Kenny taking the place of Adamida. Adamida, for me, he's hit a rut. He hadn't scored for over a month now. Johnny Kenny, it's good to see Celtic give him a chance, and I'm sure the supporters behind the goal will be delighted. And of course McCowan is their favourite because he's the Celtic fan with a jersey.
It'll be interesting to see how Kenny does. He's scored plenty of goals, 13 goals or something like that on his loan spell, so definitely a goal scorer in there. But he needs an opportunity. He needs people to create chances, and Celtic are creating one or two openings in this second period, so it might just help him. But Hugh's right, he is going through a tough time. Played a vital part in the goal, right enough, with his link-up play, so you know that will be recognised by Brendan Rodgers. But all strikers want to get on the score sheet, and he's just finding it a difficult wee spell for him.
Yeah, Celtic are on the front foot yet again. Can they find that winner? Ross County getting themselves level due to that Jordan White penalty. There's going to be a long distance effort. What a save that is from Jordan Amisa. Alex Vai's shot was deflected. It looked for all the world. It was looping over the Ross County goalkeeper, and he has somehow clawed that one away.
Incredible.
That's a top save.
That's incredible.
As he went with the right hand that you're always on about, I think he has. I think he's backed you up there.
Is he? If he has, then that's the reason he saved it. But what a save from the goalkeeper. Keeps it 1-1 here, but then you have to defend the corner.
Yeah, Arnie Engels' ball in is right on top of it. How good is that defending at the back post as
defending.
Well? Ross County are clinging on here, but they've done so well. Arnie Engels' ball is perfect at the back post. Johnny Kenny's round, and the defending was wonderful.
We'll see here, Mark.
Yeah, we're just seeing another save from Jordan
He's
Amisa.
backed you up there, Daz.
That's
He's not reached across himself. What a
Coaches
save.
all around the country are listening to this programme, and that's why Ross County are still 1-1.
He's made some top saves this afternoon, Amisa.
Ball comes in again, cleared by Ross County. Celtic enjoying a real period of dominance. It's much more like it was in the first half. Hugh, it looks more like it now.
Well, the goalkeeper's had two terrific saves from Kyogo first half. He's had a magnificent save there. You wonder, at the back of your mind, you're thinking, is he having a worldie? And is he going to make the difference? That nothing else is getting past him.
It's still a long 15-20 minutes
understand,
to go,
yeah.
and Celtic are starting to really pile the pressure on.
As I say, it's a classic Ross County Celtic game in Dingwall.
You're right, they all look like this, don't they?
Yeah. And that's why I mentioned Bernabe, Ralston, Kuhn, all belated goal scorers, and Celtic are in the market for another one.
Arnie Engels thought about crossing with one foot, comes back onto his other, and it's right into the hands.
What a moment that would have been for Kenny as well.
I think there is a real theme developing here. Every time the ball sits in the penalty box, I don't know if it's the surface, but nobody can seem to get it out their feet.
No, that's
I think it's Kenny's touch. It's just under his feet.
But that's why though. Then when he hits it into the ground, it sort of skips up the way.
An opportunity for him.
I was actually just going to say, I fancy the young lad to get on the sheet this afternoon. But you're right, Gordon. I think conditions do play a part.
Because if in isolation you can say those are bad misses, but everyone looks the same. No one's managing to get the ball out their feet.
It just stuck right where he was, and he tried to adjust on his left foot and made it easy for the goalkeeper. But what a great chance that was for Celtic.
Well, County are going to try and make life difficult at the other end. Got to feel for Kasper Schmeichel. He's now in the shade.
Well, I was going to say that side of the pitch looks like it's refrozen because Ross County haven't been in there for the last 5 minutes. But that's better again from Ross County, recognising, just getting their ball at the feet and put it to the back post up above Vi, making them defend it. And they've ended up with a corner kick, it looks.
Here's this save again.
Yeah, the Ross County goalkeeper's in top form.
Yeah,
he's
really good.
He's making good saves from close range, from long range, from deflected efforts.
Well, it's a game in the balance now. For all that Celtic have upped the tempo to the level it was at in the first half, they're still having to do some strong defensive work.
Yeah, they haven't for a while, but they are now as the ball's headed clear on the edge of the box and might look to break Celtic, but County do have numbers back in the sunny half of the pitch.
There was nothing worse. If I'm looking at Jordan White there, you know, a busy striker at set pieces, he's going one way or the other, and you have to check him and follow him every way. And of course, you can't grab shirts now, or it gets recognised.
Yeah, good defending. Austin Trusty.
Good period for Ross County this.
Yeah, there's a winner here for someone.
Yeah,
I don't think this is finishing 1-1.
Next goal's the winner.
You think so, Hugh?
Yeah, whoever scores it, next goal's the winner. That's the classic Dingwall form.
If we even get one.
To be fair, under conditions and fans getting out, it's been a good game.
Yeah,
I've really enjoyed it. Good entertaining game. Ross County deserve a lot of credit for their second half performance, because Celtic were strolling through the game and should have probably been out of sight by half time, but all credit to Ross County, made the changes.
Another corner kick.
They would have been out of sight but for the goalkeeper.
Yeah, it's made some difference, because we know Ross Laidlaw's the number one and got that bad injury. Jack Hamilton came on at Celtic Park and played really well in the second half of that game, then made a few mistakes thereafter, and Amisa has come in and made some difference.
Well, interesting, because you remember back to last week, Partick Thistle's goalkeeping situation where he got recalled, and the story was that he may have made his way to Dingwall, and nothing quite moved on that front. But Amisa's certainly shown that he's certainly the number one.
Noah Chilver's ball is just not really what you're looking for, but it ends up still finding a navy blue jersey outside the box. It was just very high, very loopy. Looking to put a bit more pressure than that on the Celtic back line, I'm sure.
Well, it's all Ross County though.
Jordan White certainly made a difference in terms of
Jordan White there, didn't you?
No, I'm just talking overall in terms of occupying centre backs and not making it easy for them. Sometimes you just need a presence. It doesn't even need to be involved that much for Carter Vickers and Trusty to understand what a threat he is. That just frees up that wee bit of space for others.
It's amazing to think the game is this way, given the way Celtic played in the first 45 minutes. And I do acknowledge that the goalkeeper has made the difference, because Kyogo should have had a first half hat-trick but for the goalkeeper. But it's in the balance now. It was anything but. It was a one-sided match in the first half, but this is a game in the balance.
I think we get carried away a little bit sometimes, Hugh. I know the Celtic are full of quality, but they're not a team that's got to dominate a football match for 90 minutes. Somewhere along the line, the opposition's got to come into it, and when they come into it, they've got to make it count. And Ross County have certainly achieved that. And I think the substitution, you look at Ross County now, they're playing two strikers, they're playing two up top. So all of a sudden then Jordan White's just dropped onto Callum McGregor, try to stop that ball going through the middle of the park, and it's worked so far for them. But I still believe there's another goal, and I've got a funny feeling that it's got to be Celtic once again. I've got a tradition up here of doing this.
Just to answer your question, Mark, Roger Hanna, who knows everything, says that Miles Roberts had to stay at Watford because their number one Daniel Bachmann is out injured, and so it wrecked the move to Ross County.
He was on the bench. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Just clarify, Roger Hanna thinks he knows everything.
Was that the game that Rocco Vata scored that screamer?
Did you see that goal?
Incredible strike,
what a goal it was. Yeah. Is he getting much game time down there? Rocco Vata.
Arnie Ingles at the edge of the box. It's ahead. It's in the back of the net.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Jordan Amisa's having that type of day, and he got a hand to it. I thought he'd kept it out again, but you can't keep Celtic and Kyogo out all afternoon. He has his second, a shake of the head from the Ross County keeper. He's doing everything he can, but Celtic have upped it in spells in the second half, and they'll lead again. Ross County 1, Celtic 2.
Did you hear my words, Hugh?
You did.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, you're a genius.
you just said there'd be another goal in the game.
No.
For Celtic.
He said for Celtic. I mean, he is genius of the year with that one. I mean, I think we could all see that coming. But
yeah, but none of you are brave enough to put it out there.
Aye.
I did.
Again, Engels does really well to take that, and on the turn, it's certainly a cross. It's not a shot, and you know, Kyogo's header does well to get across the defender. It's more in the centre than I thought. And I think the goalkeeper should save it.
After all the praise, should the goalie do better?
100%.
Yeah, I think he tries to put that up the way with his hand, almost replicating the save he'd just made, rather than just making it more simple.
I think he can catch up.
No,
I think he can catch up.
Do you know what?
Honestly, God, I think goalkeepers get away with murder now.
I've got a theory about you.
You're supposed to catch. That's why you got a big pair of gloves.
Here's my theory, because I've noticed when it happens, You think the slow motion replay is the
No,
speed
I'm
that the
not.
game's actually
Look-
played at? Honestly, I've thought this about you for
No,
years.
don't you think anything about me. I'll do my own thinking. But
Get your
what I've got
stopwatch
to-
out and time how long it takes from Kyogo's header
Right,
to get to the goalie's gloves.
what
He's
I will
not
say-
catching it. Don't
right,
be silly.
What I will say is, once again, the movement from Kyogo is different class.
It's a funny thing.
Yeah.
This is his best game of the season for me. The work he's
He's been
doing,
sharp, eh?
yeah, and the work
said
he's
it, a
doing
five for
in
it.
the other half of the field as well. He's grafting away. He scored 2, but for the goalkeeper, he'd have had 4. And it's his best game of the season.
Showed his touch map not so long ago, and lots on there.
Yeah.
And people get obsessed with that with Kyogo because lots of the build-up play doesn't involve him. But when he's playing with another striker, you can clearly see he gets involved plenty, and he's got his 2 goals. But he does well, by the way, does right. His movement to get across the defender and get it on target. Yeah, fair play to him. But the goalie's got to save that.
Yeah, he's up to 12 for the season now as well. Again, it's not a wonderful tally, and people would have expected more, but it's also not a bad tally either, Mark, when you look at it.
Just the standards he set in his first couple of years at Celtic that people think that's just the norm. It's incredibly difficult to keep those standards up. But 12's not bad at all. Plenty of the season to go, so he won't be far away from 20 or plus 20.
I think he's enjoying this little different position, just dropping him in behind the striker, linking up, making his runs, timing his runs. He looks like he's enjoying it. Look, he's back trying to tackle as well. So he's had a good afternoon. But see, you're talking about the goalie timing. Ingles' ball's in is very good indeed.
Attack is Celtic's best form of defence here because Ross County are still in this game, and they've got a free kick, and they're going to throw it towards the Celtic goal as Celtic get ready to make another change.
Yeah, Brendan Rodgers going to turn to his bench yet again. He already brought on the likes of Johnny Kenny and Luke McCowan. Ross County made changes at the break that really helped swing this game back towards something they could take home with them, but they trail once again. There's a head knock there. Is that for Johnny Kenny? Is he the one who goes up?
Yep.
Takes a sore one.
He's been in about the action, hasn't he, since he's been on? Good chance. He's been back there defending, gave away a corner a few moments ago, and he's in the middle of the pitch here mixing it, get a head knock for his troubles. Who are we seeing here? Liam Scales.
Maybe just, well, we'll probably know, unless it is like for like, but he'll probably know there are going to be balls shelled in. Could this be for Vi?
Yeah, that's a very, very good shout.
I'm just thinking the
very
amount
good
of
shout.
high
Yeah,
balls
he's given it.
that could go
Don't
in
look
at the
at
end of the game.
Don't look at the dugout. Don't look at the dugout.
More changes as well. I think County going to make one. Is that the captain Connor Randall going off? So is Josh Nisbet, Scott Allardyce and Victor Latourie coming on to try and rescue an equaliser for the hosts.
It's actually been quite a good game. I feared the worst when we saw the surface. I thought we're in for a long slog here. Not much football played, but I think it's been the opposite.
Left back, good shout. Good shout.
Tactical masterclass from you there,
I'm liking
Gordon.
that. You should be round this side.
He's hanging about with Brendan that often up at Lennox Town.
He's rubbing by the manager.
Oh, you should have heard me and him talking tactics yesterday.
Yeah.
When
you'll be slapping people in the face soon.
Exactly.
When you're speaking to them.
Where you'll see his new belt when we go out with him for a meal.
I actually mean weather. There's nothing worse, even as small talk about weather.
Oh, by the way, have you noticed Brendan Rodgers' departure away from wearing the suit? He's more casual. He's got it on again today under that big jacket.
A Christmas present, maybe.
Well, he's obviously looking to take on a different image. Someone's maybe had a word with him.
It's a very big acknowledgement from Brendan Rodgers that this game isn't over the line yet. But you have to be careful with Scales. He gave away a penalty at Dingwall last season. He was involved in the famous penalty gate at Hampden earlier on. He can be a bit rash.
See, the reason I think he's went for I think Ross County's biggest threats being at set plays, corners. They forced a couple of corners. It gives them that added advantage with the height in there.
I think it shows you how professional it is. I think you're right, Daz, because I think you could probably get sentimental about this. Celtic have got young players on the bench in Cummins and Montgomery, and you could think, oh well, we'll give them a chance. We're 15 points clear, going to 18. But he understands that the job's not done yet, and it's about getting the job done, and he's put Liam Scales in there to shore up things.
Cookie wants to point out on Twitter that's Kyogo now joint top scorer in the league. Did any of you have him in your pre-season predictions? Seems like somebody must have.
I can't remember any of mine.
Yeah, I was getting to you, don't you worry.
Mine's just shocking.
I mean, Dessers might well leave now in this window.
But how many goals?
I like the Diamande shout better though.
That was brilliant. One great pre-season game. I'm right on him. I was in going, I bags him. Need to take him.
I reckon you hope Dessers leaves, because then you'll hide behind that. You'll say, well, listen, he might have finished the top scorer if only he had stayed. I think that's what you'll do.
See, when you're saying top, I thought you meant in all competitions.
But how would that change anything?
Well, he's scored a few goals.
Yeah, but he's not going to be top scorer in all competitions anyway.
Yeah, but
especially if he leaves.
We don't know if he's leaving yet. He could be the change.
So one for
Yang.
Yang.
That's a booking, surely.
Come on, Hugh, because it won't take the headlines. But just while we've got time, would even you concede Yang has had pass marks today? Would you go that far?
If I was doing the newspaper marks out of 10, I'd give him a 6.
Oh, okay.
I think he's just sort of evened that up, didn't he? I used to read that and go, what game are these people watching? You know what I mean? Every Monday I've got to say, what is Roger Hanna doing? How is he getting picked in team of the week?
Oh, I'm the opposite. I think his team of the week's good.
Oh, terrible. He just mixes up. He keeps in with everybody, doesn't he? Oh, better stick a Celtic player in there.
I always
Rangers
think
player.
he's good.
I always thought that journalistically it's a daft exercise. How are you supposed to actually have a firm opinion of what could be 25, 26 players?
More than that,
right?
All at the one time.
Hold on. He's at Falkirk Queen's Park today, and he's picked the Premier League team of the week.
But that's the difference.
That sums it up to me.
That's the difference. He's a student of the game. He goes back and watches all the footage, makes sure he's informed. I have to admit, I heard you. I'm going to out you for this. One of the worst shouts from you
I know what you're going to say.
Another podcast.
I think
Did you hear him?
I think
what a ball from Kyogo.
He was on open goal. He was asked to
recency bias
to pick his team of the season,
Uh-huh.
and in his of all the players in the division, he put Babinski of Dundee United in his midfield.
He's hardly played,
I did a
isn't
bit
he?
of research on this. He's hardly playing recently, and I
like him.
I asked a trusted Dundee United connection of ours who said that he's not even in the top 2 Dundee United midfielders this season, and this guy stuck him in his team.
You know what? I was a team done with minimal prep. The question
Are
was,
we about to get a penalty to Celtic?
I don't think that's a penalty.
The county
Yang,
defender
it's a
touch the
wonderful
ball?
ball from Kyogo. Gets to Yang, but I do not think that's a penalty.
I think it might be. The obvious thing to look at is the county defender doesn't touch the ball and does touch Yang. There's certainly a decision to be made. Do any of you two have thoughts?
you know what? I was
You're too
busy defending
talking
my
about Babinski.
team of the year so far, so I didn't quite get a look. But I will now. That's got to be a penalty. That's got to be a penalty all day long. Doesn't he get the ball? Yang's ready. Yang takes a touch.
Matthew McDermott's just awaiting advice from Clydesdale House.
What are you saying?
I think it's a penalty. Yeah. Is Ingles
By
is
the way,
still
a
on?
fantastic pass.
Yeah, he's
Ingles
still
is
on.
still on the pitch.
Kyogo.
You give that to Kyogo for the hat trick, wouldn't you?
As I say, Kyogo has had his best game of the season. 7 minutes added on. Where did that come from?
Unnecessary.
Do you know who's got the biggest smile on their face? Andrew sitting there in Dingwall. He looks up 7 minutes more. This freezing temperature. I've got to say,
did he give the penalty, Matthew McDermott? No, he didn't give it. Okay.
So then you're looking for the clear and obvious error on the field for it to be awarded. I have to say it's taken its sweet time.
Professional or unprofessional if Ingles doesn't take it?
Needs to be given first.
It has to be given first.
If it's given,
Ingles takes it because he's the man.
Mark?
Kyogo, if I'm a striker, I'm
Matthew
taking it.
McDermott's going to the screen. You know what that tends to mean. Should be a penalty to Celtic here. Not always. In Scotland we sometimes cause even more of a stushy when we have our refs go to the screen.
You're the expert.
Oh, I don't know about that.
When they send them to the screen, are they saying, in effect, have another look? That's a penalty.
Yeah, that's VAR across the world. They're suggesting that there could be potential for the communication's important. So Matthew McDermott will tell them what he's seen, and then if they think, well, actually, that's not what's happened here.
He needs to stick his credit card in that because that ain't working.
Is the machine broke down? Is it?
Yeah, he's standing there waiting for a replay to come on. He's like, machine's not working. MD's going to help me here. Look, there we go. We're in now.
It's quite a tough school for referees, isn't it? They're having to correct themselves and
that's a penalty.
But they would prefer that, Mark.
Yeah.
You know,
and I guess I'm talking a wider concept. If any of us are asked to correct what we've just done, you know, literally 2 minutes ago,
we'd be here all day.
You wouldn't back down. You'd just refuse everything.
I always admit my mistakes, Mark. That's one thing about me.
Well,
this game's going to hit
a penalty.
The 100-minute mark, says Andrew Maclean. I think it has to be, doesn't
That's
it?
a penalty kick, yeah.
It comes right across Yang's body. I mean, his legs across Yang's kind of midriff there
I
as
think
well.
if he plays the ball in any way, he's maybe got a case, but
doesn't he touch him, does he?
I think
the ball's going the same direction. Look, the ball goes in the same direction. It's a penalty kick.
I tell you what, though,
he's taking his time.
Some people say if you can't decide in the first 15 replays, is it a clear and obvious error? But anyway, Matthew McDermott, points to the spot, penalty to Celtic. They were already leading. Any issue with that? You didn't think so initially, Hugh?
No,
Have you changed your mind?
Given that, well, I mean,
he's
he did see multiple.
It's like Hugh's gone to the monitor.
Replays, yeah, he did.
Brilliant.
That's what it's there for.
Who's taking it?
You're standing here all day lecturing people. The man who was in his car having said 3-0 Rangers at Dundee and hadn't even cleared the building before it was 1-0.
I feel like I'm your Yang in the studio. You're having a real go at me then.
The best Arnie Engels is going to take it. The best thing about this is that's one of the first laugh out loud moments we've had, and I've noticed you still can't really laugh after the
still struggling, aren't you?
Look at him, look when he tries to chuckle.
No.
The side of the cheeks just
when's it going to fix?
I'm just laughing out loud. I'm laughing inside.
This is quite straightforward. If Engels scores, obviously Celtic win the game. But if Engels fails to score, then you have a grandstand finish in your hands.
It's not a bad time to have a penalty, though, is it, when you're already winning?
You can't get it in the spot. It's
no,
he
needs to find a bit of flat ground.
Just need to try and keep the composure because the surface
he's been good with the penalty kicks, you've got to say.
Goalie's had a good game, and then he maybe could have done better with the goal. So here he comes, Arnie Engels from the spot, saved by the goalkeeper, saved again on the rebound. Incredible!
How does that stayed hit?
Incredible! All manner of bodies it has stayed out. I cannot believe that hasn't eventually ended up in the net.
Never
Arnie
mind
Engels'
the penalty
saved.
What about the rebound? How has that stayed at the net?
I like this goalkeeper, I have to say.
He's off his line.
It's going to be retaken. He's miles off his line. He's nearly on the Keswick Bridge.
Yeah.
Come on.
All that for that.
Oh, surely that's going to be retaken.
100% retake. You're not getting away with that.
Let's hope they get the communication right on this, because
he was at the halfway line when he saved that.
Well, you don't need to have a second look.
What do you do now? Do you give it to Kyogo? Or
retake. A retake. He's miles off his line. I know we love controversy here, but you don't need to worry about this. This is not to be debated. Jordan Amisa was miles off his line and he saved it. Then he saved the rebound. Engels again?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he's got to.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what, would you go the same way? I would go probably the same way. I would go the same way.
That's his corner usually, but then did he not change?
He reversed one, I'm sure.
Very interesting psychologically, because that's the first penalty he's missed as a Celtic player.
He's not missed it.
Well, yeah, but
he did in the moment.
Yeah.
Laces through it.
Practice.
This is what's going through his mind. All sorts.
Straight down the middle scores. Guarantee, because the goalkeeper will dive.
You need to lift it though, don't you? Straight down the middle.
Yeah.
You need to
put
lift
your
it.
laces through it, your gutties through it, and you're away. I think he'll go the same corner, and I'm a penalty kick expert.
Yeah. PK King.
PK King. I've been called a lot worse.
Arnie Engels again. What an end to this game. I've really enjoyed this, despite the mad conditions up there in Dingwall. He cups again, Arnie Engels, and he scores this time.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Goes the other way, his left, goalkeeper's right. It finds the bottom corner, and this game is going to go on and on, because we've played 96. There were 7 added, but we've had about 3 or 4 minutes of drama within the additional time. Anyway, the 3 points will come back down the road, and Celtic will go on to 18 points clear, Hugh.
I think the overall verdict would have to be that Celtic deserved the points, because for the 100 and odd minutes they have been the better team and given a professional account of themselves. I think it's also good that the players have given the fans a reason to be happy on the long journey home, because you have to be a 100% committed Celtic fan on a day like this. in sub-zero temperatures like they're experiencing in Dingwall, they have rewarded the fans for their faith.
Yeah, I think they've been outstanding the first 45 minutes. They were a wee bit patchy at the start of the second period, conceded but stabilised themselves well, created chances and got what they deserved at this game. I think it's been overall a good performance from Celtic.
Now, on the day when Patrick Stewart says what he has said, here we have the Rangers situation put into sharp focus. Celtic are 18 points away from Rangers. Rangers are at home tomorrow against St Johnstone. The atmosphere will be frosty, and Philippe Clement is under the most incredible strain
Such
tomorrow.
a nice move this from Celtic, and they've scored again.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
I phone and talk to Hugh and he just laughs at my plans.
Yeah,
There is
I know
Luke
where you're
McCowan
going.
who sticks it into the bottom corner, and in many ways this is what Celtic do this season. They all of a sudden turn that into an extremely comfortable afternoon. 4-1 away in Dingwall on a frozen pitch. You take that all day long, Hugh Keevins. They would have settled for 2, and they've gone and added real gloss at the end.
In the middle of August, he'd have settled for that result and performance, but on that particular pitch, that's a terrific finish, and the Celtic supporters will always revel in Luke McCowan scoring for Celtic because they believe that he is their representative on the park.
There might be a
Did you give offside for that?
No, I mean Arnie Engels
interfering.
Arnie Engels could be in an offside position, and then whether they try and make the case that he blocks the Ross County defender, but he doesn't make a deliberate attempt to play the ball, so that should be fine, I would imagine. But what do we know?
Yeah, Ross County all over the place at the back there. McCown, calmest guy in the pitch, just takes it on his left foot and slides it into the corner. You're right, Gordon. This is the sort of performance you expect from Celtics. You think, oh, they're struggling a little bit, and then they come down the road. You see the scoreline 4-1 just now, absolute cruising.
2:30 nearly, still not finished. So we will go around the other grounds. The good thing is we've already spoken to Roger Hanna, David Friel, Fraser Wishart on the Rangers update. If you are just joining us, there was a briefing given by new CEO Patrick Stewart where he backed the manager. He understands results aren't good enough, but backs the manager. Doesn't believe that changing the manager all the time is going to be a silver bullet. Points to Man United, his former club, as an example of that, and says 1, maybe 2 players coming in during the window. So we will get plenty of reaction to that, I suspect, as the afternoon goes on. But for now, we're going to round up things in Dingwall. We'll eventually get team news from the 3 o'clock games as well. Don't worry, Motherwell have got a goalkeeper, I believe, so Fraser Wishart can tell you all about it. Halliday was nearly getting the gloves out there for a minute.
I think Halliday could do that job
because he dives around a lot.
Yeah, well, he's always on the deck.
What about Lewis Mayo's nutmeg on him the other night?
Oh,
brilliant.
That's a sore one, especially when it goes all over the social media
platforms.
It's everywhere.
It's absolutely everywhere. Anyway, Celtic might even have time to add a 5th here on 100 minutes on the clock in Dingwall. Because you know it's one of those days, Hugh, that -6 people have just not been there long enough. You just want to keep them there a little bit longer.
But they'll go away feeling extremely content about Celtic's performance, and Brendan Rodgers has blooded Johnny Kenny. If this had been the score earlier on in the match, you'd have seen 1 or 2 of the youngsters, Montgomery, Cummings, whoever. It's been a very satisfactory day for Brendan Rodgers, and I repeat, everything is seen in Glasgow, the west of Scotland. Everything is seen in the context of Celtic and Rangers rivalry, and now Celtic are 18 points ahead at the top of the league, which puts Rangers' situation into clear focus. They are miles away from Celtic, and Philippe Clement, if results must improve, that means starting tomorrow. St Johnstone are the bottom club.
To be fair, they don't tend. That's not the type of fixture they tend to struggle in, is it?
No,
it's all about the away form, really.
But there will be a difficult atmosphere to negotiate at Ibrox tomorrow, and the fans are saying okay.
Well, you start out by counting them, don't you?
Yeah, for yourself. I can only imagine it will be way short of capacity.
Well, we'll get to that a bit later on this afternoon, I'm sure. Of course, the phone lines will be open. Rangers fans, you can give us your reaction to that briefing from Patrick Stewart. But the game in Dingwall's finished eventually. Andrew Maclean.
Ross County 1, Celtic 4, the full-time score. Testing conditions in Dingwall, but late goals means it's a comfortable scoreline for Brendan Rodgers' side in freezing temperatures in the Highlands. It was a really quick start from them. They were moving the ball about nicely despite the pitch not looking great. Ida with an early shot wide, Alistair Johnson with a flick that was saved by Jordan Amisa in the County goal. County's only opening of the first half came from an Austin Trusty error. A poor touch from him let Noah Chilvers have a shot, but he missed the target. You did feel though that a Celtic goal was coming. Kyogo finding himself in good areas. That's where the opener came from. A really good team move. A flick in the middle of the park from Adam Ida to Callum McGregor, out wide to Alistair Johnson, then a lovely low ball from him across the box. Kyogo instinctive finish in the 6-yard box for 1-0. He looked certain then to make it 2 moments later, but Jordan Amisa, who had a good afternoon on the whole for Ross County, pulled off a couple of really good stops just before half time. Ross County then made changes at the break. Immediately they looked better. Jordan White, one of those that came on, and he was fouled by Alistair Johnson as he went for a header at the back post. Penalty given. White stepped up to take, sent Schmeichel the wrong way, and all of a sudden Ross County were level, but Celtic started to push again. Alex Vai had a long range effort that was deflected, looped up into the air, was going towards the top corner. Amisa scrambling back, stretching, pulled off a magnificent save to keep it level. He was tested again 10 minutes before the end. Arnie Engels whipping across in. Kyogo got in front of his man, flicked a header towards the top corner. Jordan Amisa got his hand to it but could not keep this one out, and that put Celtic ahead. Plenty of late drama, but it was never going to sway where the points went. Yang taken down in the box. Matthew McDermott was sent to the screen. A penalty was awarded on review. Arnie Engels took the spot kick. It was saved by Amisa, but the goalkeeper had come off his line, had to be retaken. Arnie Engels sent up, went the opposite way this time, and he scored to wrap up the points for Celtic. But if that wasn't enough, there was even time in the 98th minute for substitute Luke McCowan to slot home in front of the Celtic support, who belted out a rendition of Glasgow Celtic champions as he celebrated. Brendan Rodgers' side now 18 points clear of Rangers at the top of the table. I'm now away inside to check if all my toes are still intact. The full-time score in Dingwall: Ross County 1, Celtic 4.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard podcast with Lookers Group. The Lookers Big Event. Thousands of great value used vehicles ready to drive away.
Football, it has its ups and downs. There's the players who kiss the badge and kiss the club goodbye, right after you've splashed out £100 to get their name on your kit. And the A-list striker who always sticks it in row Z. The good news is the Ladbrokes ACCA gives you auto insurance, free bets back and big odds boosts. So whatever else lets you down, it won't be your ACCA. It's a gaffer of an ACCA from Ladbrokes.
18 plus, online and mobile. Minimum odds apply. Maximum 1 to 3 £10 free bets per customer per day. Up to £50 at boosted odds. Restrictions and T&Cs apply. BeGambleAware.org. Take time to think.